this is my stream, and welcome to you who have come to the stream. Anything is possible at my stream. You can do anything at my stream. The infinite is possible on my stream. The unattainable is known on my stream. Welcome to my stream. This is my stream. Welcome to my stream. Welcome. This is my stream. Welcome to my stream. Welcome to my stream.
What's up, chat? Oh, I need to fix my headphones. They do this thing where if I talk, I can hear inside. Or it thinks I'm going to talk to someone, which is the worst thing about these headphones. And I don't think I can change that. Except on here. So maybe I'm going to put my AirPods in instead, because that's going to be super annoying. Hold on. How you guys doing? So today I have been talking all week. Okay, I can hear now. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Mic seems like it's working. Cool. All right. So what I'm going to show you today, 3 things, which I've talked about on Twitter. So first, I shared earlier this week these 2 photos. AT&T Stadium, different scenes essentially. It's a really good skill to be able to change things to different daytimes, nighttimes environments. This one's a little bit bigger, but it's fine. But I did this for a client and I wanted to show you guys, hopefully that doesn't break, how you can easily cut this out. So I want to show you how you can use channel selections to cut out an object. And I have 3 photos we're going to do it on. This is going to be one of them. And I have 2 other images to show you when and where I would cut something out. So I'm going to quit out of these real quick. So I have these 3 images. What's up, Kevo? Just got back from West Palm, went to visit the SoFi Center for TGL, did a lot of brain animation. That's sweet. Holiday break, good. My holiday break kind of happened because I was teaching and I'm not teaching this semester, so I don't really have a holiday break because I freelance. I just am here all the time, but it was fine. So these are the 3 images we're going to do. So because you can do this with hair, it works really well. So I got these 2 photos from Unsplash that we can do some hair, like how we can get these whiskers cut out real well. But I want to show you and start with this AT&T Stadium photo, which is the photo that I was showcasing. So how channel selections work is you can make a selection based off of a layer, the visual transparency of a layer. So like if I just make a new layer and I scribble white, I can hold down the option key, not the option key, the command key, and I can select that layer. Show me the transparency of that layer. And this sort of works like layer masks work in terms of, a layer mask is black and white. I can select this layer. It's going to select all the white. So the channels are up here in the layers panel. And how channels work is it's basically showing you this is the red, this is the green, and this is the blue. So this is all of the blue that is in this photo. Anything that's white is basically where blue shows up. If I turn on blue and green, you can see how this is the image with the green and blue channel combined. And if we turn the red channel on, it's combining all of those together. So how we can kind of show this, I'll do this real quick. So if I go to blend if, I can tell this to only show the red channel, I can tell this to only show the green channel, and I can tell this to only show the blue channel. So if I turn these off and on, the blue channel, it's showing that this is all the blue that's in this image. This is the green, and this is the red. And when they're layered on top of each other, they make the one image because this is RGB. So how channels work is it's going to give you the basically transparency value of this blue or of this green or of this red. And each image is going to be different in terms of which channel you want to select. So I'm going to delete this layer mask and let's turn this to a smart object just because we can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the channels panel. So we can either select red, green, or blue. And what we're paying attention to here is the most contrast between our background and our subject. So I'm looking at the background here and AT&T Stadium here. And I'm just going to click and figure out which one has the most contrast. And I'm mainly focused on this, scaffolding sort of texture here of where you can see through it. So red right now seems to be the most contrasting, most black to white because the sky is blue. Sometimes you want to select blue, but for this, they're all very similar because it's sort of a gray color, but it has the most red in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click that channel and duplicate it. It's going to say, what do you want to name it? I'm just going to hit OK because I don't really care. So we have our red channel. So theoretically, what we can do is if we hold down the command key, we can select this channel, and then we can set that up as a layer mask. And if we hit Command I, it'll invert it. So this is sort of what is cut out. So let me make a new layer that's underneath it just to show you what this does. So it's basically just selecting all of the red, but it's showing me all the channels in it because it's just a layer mask. So I'm gonna delete that layer mask. So the idea behind channels selections is you start off with something that's high contrasting, and then you just keep adding on to that contrast. We basically want the front area we want to cut out to be black or white, and the back to be the opposite. So for this, we're gonna make this, I'm gonna call the scaffolding black and the sky white. So there's a couple ways we can do that. One way that works pretty well is we're going to go up to image, and you can hit calculations. And what this is going to do, it's going to allow you to basically take this channel layer and merge it with a second channel layer using a specific blending mode. So I can go here. I want to do red copy because that's the most contrasting channel we have. And I can hover over these and see what it does. So like linear burn is making it super dark, which is kind of nice. But we want to make the background lighter as we do it too. So like linear light or vivid light is actually pretty solid, because what it's doing is it's making the background really bright, but it's not giving me all the stuff in the front. So actually I'm going to go, and multiply is usually pretty good. Overlay is usually pretty good. I think I want to use that linear burn though to make this super black, because we want to make this black. We just need to make the sky very white and very transparent, not transparent, very a lot brighter. And what I'm paying attention to mainly is just these hard to mask out areas. I don't really care about up here because I can mask this out really easily. I really want to pay attention to these areas. So we have our one alpha. So we started with this red channel. Now we have this alpha channel, but we want to keep going. So I'm going to go up to image calculations again and do the same thing. Now for this one, I might do overlay, I might do screen, and you can see it's making it black and white. So let me turn preview off and on. So you see it's working pretty well to mask out this area. I'm gonna hit OK. So there's some spots in here. We can obviously just go back in and paint in some of these areas that are white that need to be black. But this is a good start. Now, we have a good position, but we need this to be pure white. And I know it's not pure white, because if I just grab white, because you can just paint on these, this is pure white. So this obviously isn't pure white. So what we can do is we can do a couple different things. I'm gonna go up to image, I'm gonna go to adjustments, and we're gonna use a curves. And this isn't an adjustment layer. This is just going to apply to this actual layer. So it's not gonna be a smart object or anything. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grab this hand at the bottom, and I'm gonna say, hey, I want you to take this value here. And you can see the value on the curve there is right here. It's gonna take that value there. And I'm gonna make that brighter. So I'm just gonna move it up until it hits the top. When it hits the top, that's pure white. So I can come down here, pure white. You're basically taking all of these channels and moving them up. You can also just drag this over. So what I can do is I can go to edit image, adjustment, curves, and I can just move this over. It's gonna make all that stuff brighter. I think it's just easier if you know exactly what part you want, and you can say, hey, make this brighter. So that's pretty good. I don't care about up here. I just want to figure out this sort of scaffolding. And you can click any of these areas too. I can click here and make this darker too. So if I want to make this part darker to add more contrast, I can do that. And this looks pretty decent. So I'm just going to hit OK. So we can do this now or later. You can hit invert, which is going to invert the layer. I'm going to select this. And the reason I inverted it now is because this is going to be my selection. So if I go up here and I mask out this top layer, now it has all of the scaffolding masked out, which looks pretty solid. Now, this is a layer mask, so this can just be painted black or white to hide or remove stuff. So I can just go with a, this is a black brush is the word I'm trying to say. I can just go with the black brush and basically get rid of all of this. And I'm being really lackadaisical with it, except for like right over here. I only care about the scaffolding part right here. right now. So this is what we've got. So the scaffolding part looks pretty solid. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to duplicate this layer. So it's Command J is duplicate. I'm going to delete this layer mask. And then I'm just going to add a layer mask to this. And then we'll just mask this out however we want. Now I'm going to delete this. So let's see what we can do. I'm going to use my select subject and see what this selects. Oh, well, let me just click here and we'll select this subject. So it selects this whole thing, which is pretty solid. I'll go to select and mask, and we can go here and we can refine this edge. Now, I will say this might be a time where I use the pen tool to cut out this part because it's a nice curve. But I'm not going to do that because I refuse. So scaffolding, I'm only paying attention to the top part. And actually, I don't really care about this area. I mainly just care about this area up here and then everything down here. So we're just going to grab a big old brush. And we're just going to say, hi, I would like this area to be included. Thank you. And then I don't care about that. So I'm just going to hit OK. That's going to output to a layer mask. So I can take this. I'm going to put this in a group so I don't destroy this mask we made. And I'm going to go up here and I'm just going to grab a brush and just paint over the scaffolding. And if there's an area inside I need, I'm going to paint that back in. So like I need this little part back right here, but that is in this, so I need to fix that. And I'll go in and be like, okay, this is part of the scaffolding. I need this. That's part of here, so I need this. But I can go in here now and just go, hey, get rid of all of this stuff, please. Thank you. It's going to remove basically the whole background. And I'm doing this non-destructively, so I can go back and fix this at any time. I'm not editing the actual image itself because we're using layer masks, which is very important in case we need to change anything in the future. Now, because you could use something called the background eraser tool, but that is a destructive tool. It also would probably get confused because there's not a ton of contrast here. But I can just go over here and just say, hey, get rid of all this crap over here. We don't need any of this. And I can always just hit X to invert my brush to paint stuff back in. So if I need to paint this tent back in, if I need to paint the side of this back in, we can do that. And since this is a layer mask, we can always edit the layer mask too if needed. But since this is going to be like a sky, it's not really going to be that big of a deal. Just paint that back in. So that's the left scaffolding. And then we're going to do the same thing here on the right. So we're going to remove this. Remove this. And it doesn't need to be perfect because it's going to be smaller in your composition theoretically. And you can hide it with some background stuff. If it blends in, it'll be fine. But we can go in here and say, I don't need this. I need AT&T Plaza, so I can go here. Let me zoom in so you can see what's going on. And you get the picture. So what I would do is I would make one selection that has the bones of what you want. Make another selection that is everything else, so you can keep everything nice and neat where it is. So this is really quickly showing you how you can use channel selections on a building to cut out a sky. So now it's cut out, I'm just going to turn these into one single smart object. And then in that image, let me make this composition just a little bit taller. I changed the scene with it. So I want to show you just real quick how I did that. Let me find the photo I used. I want to go to my downloads. So the idea that I had, or what I was tasked to do, was essentially make it look like it's sort of nighttime, but not really. I don't know what photo I use. Let's use this one. So here's a nice sunset. So I'm gonna put the sunset behind it. I'm gonna blow it up so we don't have trees in the background like down here, and go like that. Okay. Not great, but it works. Do I have a better sunset photo? Let's use this one. I think this is the photo I used. So I'm gonna blow this up so it's up here. We don't see any trees in the background. I guess the trees don't really matter, but we'll put that there. Now I want this to be more saturated, so I'm going to just quickly go to my adjustment layers and add a selective color to this and boost the reds and boost the yellows. And what I could do too is to take the blues and basically get rid of the cyan and make them really yellow and magenta and red. I'm going to multiply this on top of it. There. All right, so we got a sunset. So I'm going to group this together. So what I did was I took that, I duplicated it, put it on top here. I flipped it upside down and masked it to this layer. And what I did in here was I think I set this to screen, and then I masked this to only be on this window here. And this is just to show sort of the reflection. So I'll set that to like 50%, 70%. Maybe I set it to overlay at 100%. We'll do that. Now, this looks okay. This is still too cold compared to the background. So what I would do is I would go to the adjustment layers. First, I'm going to grab an exposure layer and set it to like minus 0.5 to make it a little bit darker. And we can change this at any time. And then I'm going to grab, what do I want in here? Color balance. And with this, I can adjust the midtones to make it more warm. I can go to the highlights, do the same thing, and just play around with these numbers until they look good. Shadows is probably going to do a decent amount. So I can blend this in a little bit. And this blends in a little bit better if I set this to that. Maybe I go in here. What is this exposure set to? What if I turn this off? It's okay. Let me make this like, oh god, negative 0.25. I could probably go in here too, and on top of all of this, add a photo filter to warm it up as well, or put it down here. Maybe we get rid of the exposure, see what this looks like. But just really quickly, you can see how we went from this, you know, daytime version. We cut out the background, and you know, you can see there's some trouble areas. I would spend a little bit more time tweaking that, but just quickly we can go in and change the setting of this. So that's how we'd use channel selections to cut this out. So let's use that strategy and do the same thing with these two images. Image of this random guy. I only picked this because there's a lot of contrast with the hair. So let's do the same thing. So I'm going to make this a smart object. I'm going to figure out what channel has the most contrast. And they're all pretty similar. So I'm just going to select blue just because it's got the most on his skin as well, which means there's the least amount of blue. So I'm going to duplicate that channel. I'm going to hide that, turn this one on because you can't edit these channels here. That's why we're making a copy of it. And let's do this a slightly different way. Let's just go to image adjustments and hit curves.
Curves.
And let's see what happens if we just take this inside and drag it down and this outside and drag it up. That worked actually pretty quickly. So I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to invert this so I can see what we're working with. Now the inside here, we want to make white. So I can just paint with white. One thing that's a trick though you can do too is if you set this to overlay your brush and you have black or white, it'll just basically add contrast to that edge. So you see how it's tightening in that selection. If you set your brush to like 50 and 50, it'll do a lot more subtly. So I can go in here and tweak some of these, and I would probably just tweak these with a normal brush. But if you're cutting something out, like I can see if I get this light out of my face, it's a little not pure black over here. So I can make this brush larger, set it to overlay, and select black. And then if I paint, it should slowly, you see how it's invading his ear, make it darker. Hit Command Z though, because it's being weird. Command Z, Command Z, Command Z, Command Z. Because I don't want to bleed his ear off. All right, so let me come over here. So I can see this here. I can always also go to image, adjustment curves. Now the issue with using curves here is it's destructive, so you can't go back and fix it. But I think this is a good selection of his hair. So I'm gonna hit OK. Then I can grab this using the command key, go here, and then simply make a mask. Can also go back in here. I don't know, I didn't need to do that. I'm just gonna make a solid color background so we can see what's going on. This is his hair cut out. You can then obviously do what I did before and just duplicate this layer, delete the layer mask. Maybe we use just a more simple method to select The subject, go to selected mask. Now you can also go in here and just, select it using these tools. And it might not look too bad. It always depends on the photo. This is a really good photo because there's a ton of contrast. So let me just get rid of this part here and just hit OK. So it's masks out. So let me see what this looks like. So this did actually a pretty good job just the regular way. But you can see you might have a little bit more finer detail with this. So I'm going to group this together and I'm just going to paint around. I need this set to 0. I'm just going to paint around his head. Just going to get rid of the hair that it cut out. We'll put the ear back in. I'm going to use a hard brush to do this. And we'll paint his ear back in. There you go. We have another cutout selection here. Now what you can do is you can fix some of this fringe a little bit. Darken it up depending on your background. That's another way of doing it. Let's finally do it to this rabbit. So I'm going to grab, see what selection is the most contrasting. I like this red one. So we're going to duplicate this red channel. Turn this off, turn this on. Here we go. All right, let's use the tools we just talked about. So let me go to Image, Calculations. And we're going to use the red layer. I'm going to just hover over some of these and see what's going on. This is too much. Now I could probably do this hard mix, but change the opacity. And just up that opacity just a little bit each time. Like that. And I'm looking at the whiskers right now. I think that looks really good. So I'm just actually just going to pay attention to that. And that might be it, to be honest. I'm going to select this because we're mainly concerned with how do we cut out these whiskers. So we have our whiskers and we have our regular image. We'll add a solid color background. I'll just make it like, I don't know, dark green. Doesn't really matter. Turn this on, turn this off. So we have this nice selection of the whiskers. We can go in here. I can make a group so we don't edit our initial selection. And I can go in here and just paint with black to get rid of this stuff. And I don't know where this whisker ends. We can just sort of fake it. Now the issue with this photo, this is a good example, but the issue with this photo is it's on a dark background. So like cutting this out down here might be a little bit difficult. So that's why I would probably put this on a darker background. So if I make this background like, I don't know, make it like dark purple. I can go in here. I'm just going to make a layer mask that's inverted and just paint back in some of this rabbit. Kind of like this. And one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a brush to do this fur. So this is just a hard normal brush. I have brushes in here. I have one called Fur that I made. So the fur brush looks like this. It makes sort of some furry edges, so it's a lot easier. So if I go like this and paint this back in, it looks better than where it's real hard over here because it's just a hard circle. So let me paint that back in. And I'll show you how I made that brush in a little bit. So I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger and just sort of paint back in the rabbit. And I know I'm not gonna do a good job on his little paws here. So I'm just gonna click here and say, this is where the rabbit ends. We'll figure it out. Go like this, maybe paint just back in a little bit here, and then we'll paint back in the wascally rabbit. So now I have this rabbit that's cut out, put it on any background. It's gonna look better on darker backgrounds. But you can do darker, lighter backgrounds to make sure you have all of the subjects selected in there. But you can see the whiskers here, how they got cut out amazingly. They look great. Now one thing you might do is you might group this together and you might paint like some white on these whiskers or something to make them really pop out or change them from that. But just to cut them out, that's how I would do that using channel selections to get fine-tuned stuff like this. So like I would use this on like bridges. I would use it on buildings if they've got stuff like that. It's really good for hair. We'll just paint that in. Now we've got this nice whisker looking rabbit on a background. You know, you can add shadows later and stuff like that. So that's how we'd use channel selections. And it comes in handy if you want to make brushes from it too. So let me go to Envato real quick. I'm gonna show you how I made this brush. I don't exactly remember what I looked up, but let me pull this over here. I think I grabbed a paint roller. So under these 3D assets, I think I typed in like fur brush or something like that. I spelled brush right. Yeah, so like this. So here's a feather duster. So feather duster kind of looks like fur, right? So I'm just going to have this side up sideways. I'm going to download this. This is going to be just a 3D image, transparent image of a feather duster. I'm going to get rid of the background on it. I'm going to mask out part of it. This might be the exact same image I used. It is the same image. It's just flipped upside down. So I'm just going to go over here and I'm just going to mask this part out and put a little bit back in. Kind of like that. So this is what we're looking at. So this is an object. This is a solid thing. So what I can do is I can set this up as a brush. So I'm just going to make this larger. Deselect it. I don't need to deselect that. I'm just going to make this larger like this. And we have our brush here. Now brushes are usually black and white. So I'm going to add the background back. I'm going to make it black. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to give it a color overlay of white. And I might be doing this wrong. I don't like how I'm doing this. Let me make it black. I think it's black on white. If it's wrong, we can always fix it. But boom, here's a brush. So I can just go up to edit, define brush preset, come here and type in fur 2. And now I have this fur brush. It's going to pop up immediately. So I have this fur brush now that I can paint fur around the edges of an object now, which is great. So you can do the same thing. If you find an image of something that looks great, like I found this image of James Harden's beard, and I use this for hair. So it's his beard just sort of rotated around. So if I have hair somewhere I need to fix, or if someone's just goatee, any goatee you see me, I'll just make it nice and smooth and then just grab this and go boom. And there, now he has a little bit of a goatee. But I use that because I use channel selections to highlight that little area first. So that is how you can use channel selections. They come in very handy. Next thing I want to show you. So we got 2 more things I want to show you today. So I want to show you how I designed the Dayton 6 sports cards and how you can theoretically set everything up to print correctly. What is the process behind that? And then after we talk about that, I'm going to do a Jamir Gibbs graphic from scratch. So for Dayton basketball, I made some card designs. So these are all different card designs. These are all of Enoch Cheeks. So these are all designs I made and got made into cards. I don't think I have any of those here. I have them. They're in a box somewhere. Here, here's an example. So here's one I did of Nate Santos. Got it printed. Let me see if it can focus. Maybe not. But they're on holographic paper. And that's the main challenge. Like, you can just make this, you know, get this printed off. But I got them printed on holographic paper, which is the hard part about doing that. Let me just update Twitter on what's going on. Hopefully that section on channel selections was helpful. Hopefully you guys got something from that. I know it's something that comes in handy a ton. And I think I have that pasted. Sweet. Okay. Post. That's weird. It's using the thumbnail from last time. Okay, cool. So I want to show you how I designed these cards and why I designed them in such a manner, and what I needed to do to make sure I could get them printed on holographic paper, which I think I have. Let me open these up. Okay, cool. So how this worked was essentially, if you think about the printing process, if you wanted to print something on holographic paper, you usually print something on white, but you can't print white traditionally. There are certain printers that can print white. So the whole idea is, what layer can I put to hide the holographic paper and then print on top of that? So anything you see on this that's white is going to be essentially holographic paper. And then we need to put a mask layer underneath that. So this is one of the test sheets, if I can get the shade off of, or the light off of this to shine. So this is a test sheet for it. So I did 18 cards per paper on a test sheet like this. So how I went into designing this card here, we'll talk about this card, see what is going on with this. Let me turn everything off. The main idea when I design sports cards essentially is, how can I have this set up for multiple players and set it up as a template so you can use it for multiple people? And that's how Panini or Topps would do it. You know, they're, you know, base cards like Prism. This is inspired heavily by Prism. Like, they might have 400 athletes that need to go on this card. So I just need to have a spot for each of those athletes. So the way I set this up initially was an Illustrator file using Dayton's logo. So I'm going to open up this Illustrator file to show you this. I'm going to show you the breakdown of this design, and then I'll just show you the other designs and how I set up the masks for those correctly. So let me pull this down. So let me just zoom back. So this is how I made this in Illustrator. So I basically took Dayton's logo. And I think what I did was I took the logo, inverted it, and put these little notches into the side of it. But you can see how it's using Dayton's logo. I then took some of these angles and put them up here for a top and for the sides. And the way I like to think about sports cards in certain aspects is symmetry, coming from the middle, coming out, because when you print these together, if these are all the same color, you want it to be able to basically have it so there's a nice seam down the middle. So if you cut it off a little bit, you can fix it. Kevin, yeah, these should be posted to, I've got a playlist on my YouTube channel that all these lives go to. So you can repeat any of these. If you're going to rewatch 3 hours of stuff, you can do that. But if you missed anything too, you can always go back and watch it. They're on the channel. So this is the base of the design. So if I go back here, this is the color. So I've got a couple other layers underneath this. This background layer I have set up. It's got this big funky mask on it. Let me disable this layer mask and see if I can find this layer here. So this is this sort of parallel layer I have here. This is how I try and mock up to see what these are going to look like. But I have a mask on this. Where's the actual meat of that though? Lines. Here you go. So I have these lines I made. So I basically went in here and I probably did this in an Illustrator file. I took this Illustrator file that I had. So I took this guy here, which this is going to be a vector smart object. Good. So I took this. Hold on. Okay, cool. So I took this in Illustrator. And if I layer these on top of each other, it looks like this. So I probably kept this on here. I did a, what is it called? Object offset path. So I offset the path so it jutted it out. I kept this here as a guide and just deleted it when I was done. But I came up with these lines that just framed inside this. So I put these here, and then I just connected them to the sides. And I just added a couple effects to it. Like I duplicated it a couple times, made it look like it was glowing, which is great, which is what I wanted. I toyed around with the idea of having like some metal aspects in here that I didn't like, so I didn't do those. I did end up adding circles somewhere. Yeah, so I added this other group, and these are all grouped up differently because I needed them different layers on this graphic. But this, I think I just went in. And again, I opened up this vector smart object and basically gave it a stroke. And then I added some circles and some more lines. So I did some line work in here just to frame this in. What else we got here? And then made it glow. What I did in the end then was, since I knew this was going to be white, I needed to make sure this was transparent. So I took those and basically applied it to this back mask. I applied it to this layer, which is just adding some texture. And then this layer is a grid in the background as well. And if I look at this grid, let me see if I can see it here. So it's not applied there. Did I apply the grid here? No, I didn't put it anywhere. Okay, I thought I tried to put the grid on there, but it was too small to see. So I set it up. I needed an area for a signature. What is this? This is metal. We don't need this. I'm just going to delete this. So here's the signature area. So again, with this top shape, that gave me this nice area for a signature. So I hopped into Illustrator. Again, offset path is a really good job. I'm going to make it, quarter inch away, quarter inch away, quarter inch away. We can do that. So I set up this little signature area down here. So we've got a spot for their name and then a big area for their signature, because it needs to be big enough that they can sign it. And I measured it out with a ruler on other cards I had to be like, okay, how big does this need to actually be? Is this too small? Is it too large? And it seemed to be just right. So inside this area up here, we have just this vector smart object. And I've got two of them. This top one is to have a background image in it. And this way I can have this set to be blurry and be somewhat opaque. So it's masked to this, so it's 90%. And that way I wanted a little bit of the holographic to shine through on the background of the image, but I didn't want it to be on the top part of the image. I don't know what this layer does. I see what it is, but I don't know what it's doing. It's just here. I'm just gonna turn it on. So to have that background, I have the background synced up with these two layers here essentially. So this top one is just a cutout photo. And the bottom one is that cutout photo with a stroke on it with a color overlay that's white, just because. This is going to be a nice stroke. And this stroke represents basically the holographic paper underneath it. And the way I have this set up, and I'll see if it's set up correctly on here, because I did change these a bit. I have this parallel color layer down here. I should be able to just have this be unmasked. And this is the holographic showing through, essentially. But it would look a little bit different from this. And I'll show you how I mock this up after the fact. So I've got this photo of Enoch Cheeks on here. I make sure this is on a different layer. It's masked to the inside of this shape, but juts out of it up here for a little bit of depth. This group is, what? Nothing? There's nothing in this group. Okay. And then I just have some simple text on it. So it says Enoch Cheeks. Oh, it says signatures. I have on here text. Here you go. So I made some 3D text to put up here. That's why this is on top of it. So when you look at this card, it says Jet Set, and then it says signatures at the bottom. I have this set up, this file. This file is set up like this. So it's a pretty small file in terms of pixels, because it's 300 pixels per inch. But it's 2.75 by 3.75. And that is because if I go to my view, guides, I'm going to make a new guide layout. I don't need columns. I'm going to set the margin to be 0.125, because this is going to represent the bleed. This is where the card is going to get cut off. So it looks like there's a lot of extra on the edge, and that's just for the bleed. For when they cut this, I get a nice crisp line instead of white. Now what I like to do for this too is add another guide on top of that. I'm not going to clear the existing ones. I'm just going to do 0.25 along the edges, so I know where there's nice breathing room. So you can see the signature's a little bit below that, but that's just for sort of space. Then I can even go further, make a new guide from layout point 375. 0.375. And this just gives me another area. You can see where some stuff lines up with that to pad everything in a little bit. It's not too dissimilar to if you're using like safe view areas, if you're making something for video. I'm thinking of it the same way, essentially. Making sure all my text is inside this safe zone so it's not too close to the edge mainly. So I have this card here. This is the card design. So the way I have this set up is essentially... No, that's fine. Let me turn this off. So this is what the card design looks like. So then this would be multiplied, which if you print something, you're sort of multiplying it. So let me put this down at the bottom. I'm just going to group all of this stuff together and hit Command M to multiply and multiply it on top of this parallel layer. Now I'm going to make this a lot brighter just so we can see it, because this is a sort of decent representation of what the cards look like, but it's just a lot brighter. So it would look like this, which doesn't look great because it's just printing all on that holographic paper. There's no white to contrast to really pop out some color. So what I did after this was I created a mask layer. This is what I call it. It's just a white layer. And it's basically going to print just where white is. So it looks like this. So what I did was I went into this file here and I went, okay, what objects need to be pure white or pure see-through transparent or fully opaque, I should say. So these are the fully opaque areas. So I cleverly masked out specific areas to make it so this was all white. So if I grab this parallel color layer and just toss it on the bottom, you can see what's shining through. And the rest of this would be white. I have it set to a color overlay just so I can see what color it was. But this essentially would be white. And this is how it would print. So it's printing all these nice lines in the grid. It's printing right here where they're going to sign, because that obviously needs to be white. Signatures down here at the bottom, and then jet set behind it. You can see I have this nice mask around it, so that stroke I made, I'm using as a mask so we can see through it. So when I get the actual card, I've got a nice holographic outline around my player. And you can see a little bit of this through it. So if I grab this top area here, I'm just going to take a little bit because it's a lot. Go here and paste this all on top and set it to multiply, which it is. This is what the card's going to look like, essentially. And I can make it more holographic just to show you sort of the, for effect. Let me just drop this down. So you can see that there's a nice stroke around Enoch here. We've got fully opaque behind jet set. We've got opaque around this. It even has a nice little stroke around it. Signatures you can see. And then this line you can see through it, but it sort of fades out into the edges. So in this mask file, I actually had to do a couple other things to make this using a channels layer. Let me go back here, turn some of this off. So if I go to channels, I can go to just RGB. And what I had to do is I had to make a new spot color channel and make it white. And what that is going to do, which doesn't show up here, I can probably find the final files. But in order for the printer to work, I needed that to be a spot color. And that way the printer sees this specific spot color of white and prints that instead of printing what theoretically would be RGB white. But we don't need to chat about that. So this is how I mocked up all of these to make sure that the color would work. In theory, essentially, is I've got my top layer, I've got my mask layer, and there's a lot of finagling of figuring out, you know, what do I want to see through? What needs to be specifically masked in order for this to work? So let me quit out of this one. Let me show you a couple other ones. We'll get out of that. So these are two other ones. This one I have called Flying High. Let me turn all this stuff off, see what we've got going on here. This is something. Why is this? Why is this set to screen, but it's not on any? Okay, I don't know. It's weird. There's probably a black layer under here. So this started off with just the sky. And I thought of the idea of having this basically looking through a airplane because of the Dayton Flyers. So thank you for posting up some new stuff doing live, and definitely spinning back tonight and watching this in full. Hope there's some info on printing cards and others for posters. Yes. I'll talk about a little bit more about that after these, but the process is all pretty much the same. I'll show you the print files for these as well. So I found this basically image of a window outside. I've got a couple, as you can see, I didn't name like these anything good at all. Oh, here we go, this top layer. So it just started off basically with view from an airplane, put this own sky out here. I then found images of each guy, sort of doing a quick layup or shooting the 3 or something where they're up in the air. And with that, I did the same thing. The theory is sort of the same. We've got image of guy, white stroke around it, which we know is going to be not part of the mask. That way, when we get this printed, there's a nice outline around the player. And if you look at sports cards... Oh, here are all the sports cards. They're all right here. Let me see if I can find this card of Cheeks specifically. Cheeks, yeah. So this card right here, this is the card we're looking at, which is super blown out, which is such a shame. But you can see how holographic parts of it are, how some of them it's not. But if you look at any other more, I won't say professional, but the bigger card companies. Like here's a card from Prism, which was inspirational for the base cards I made, because they do very symmetrical things. So with this card of Toumani Camara, it's the same as what we see here. So there's a nice outline around the player. Really, a lot of the holographic is shining through. The mask is pretty much only on the player, and then the text behind it and their rookie card logo. Everything else basically is see-through. And black is pretty opaque, so the black is going to cover up a lot of that already. So I wanted this setup to be similar to the Contenders cards that Nini makes. Let me find one of those. I got a bunch of sports cards here that I can show you, which is fun and easy. They're sort of like this. This is a horizontal card. You should be able to see this one better. So for these cards, they have like seat numbers and stuff like that. What is it up here? Seat, row, and section. So I wanted to sort of emulate that. Flying high, airline ticket inspired. So I've got the player here. What is in this here? Here's all the info. So I put on here flying high. I wanted to have some sort of cool looking text. And I think this goes below the player. Let me look at this. Oh no, just both goes up because this is where ticket info is. So I have this sort of ticket shape down here that I utilized. I've got the info here on the left. It says ticket, passenger name. It's going to be first initial, last name for everybody. Row, seat, and their class. So whatever class they are, their row is their position and their seat is their number. So they're all going to be different. No one's going to be the same. I know on these, they go with width and height. So row is their height. So Toumani Camara is 6'8", and the section number is his weight. So he's about 200. I didn't want to do that on here because I already had players chatting about people's heights and stuff. Then I have a nice Dayton 6 logo over here because this is for Dayton 6. And this is a barcode that I think does something. I think this barcode might go to Dayton6.com. I don't remember. I would have intentionally made something. Like I would have grabbed a barcode. I would have generated a barcode for this. That's probably what happened. So for each guy, I have this same exact setup. This is a much simpler card. It's just where does the mask happen? So for that, we've got, let me pull up the mask. Do I have it on there? Nope. So this mask is a lot more, there's a lot more stuff we want to show through or not show through. So this is what our mask looks like. And let me see if I can figure out how I masked it on here for you guys. So right now I want to think just what is going to be white. I basically want to make a background layer that's a dark color. So I'm going to make this black. And basically black is going to be see-through for whatever we want. So I guess I took this background layer and made it black and white just so it was easier. And I had that masked out. Let me delete this mask and we'll see how I can do this. Oh, sorry. For the flying high, it does have a border to it as well. So I would have taken this border, removed flying high, and masked out part of the area here so we can see through it. So the black is what we want to see through. Flying high is good on there. The player. So what we need is we need this without this. Actually, we can just take this. Oh, sorry. I need to turn this into a smart object because it won't grab the stroke. So I need to take this and basically say, okay, I need you to remove the background from this. I need you to remove the background from flying high. So I need to make a selection around this and invert it so we can see through it. I think I took a layer. This has a stroke to it, so I need to turn this into a smart object. So I have this stroke. And it helps, I've seen, if I turn this off, I can go here and hit delete. I can go here and hit delete. I can go here and hit delete as well to hide it. I'm going to take this object and I'm going to give this a color overlay just so it's white. So I can see here this is an issue. So I need to grab this, our ticket info, I need to delete this from. So right now this all looks pretty solid. It just all needs to be one color. So if I group all this together, I can just give this a color overlay of white, except it's going to break super hard because of this layer and probably a couple other layers. So I probably want to do colors individually like this. So that's a color. We'll give this a color overlay. And this looks weird because it's set to 80% opacity, which is completely fine. I can turn off some of these because I combined them together to be black and white. But this looks pretty solid. Is this the same? Yeah, so you can see if I turn this layer off and turn this layer off, this is what it looks like from here. Except I need to get rid of this. And I made it not white, like this color overlay, just so I can see what I'm doing. So if I make this red, great. Can change this color overlay to be red. And I use the same color. I should be using the same color, but it's fine. What happens if I just give this a color overlay? That's good. Flying high looks good. And then this, how do I do that here? So what I would do here is set this so the current layer, anything that is black, we can blend in, and then we can give that a color overlay as well. So now you can see how these are very similar. The clouds in one are a little bit different from the other. But if we take these and layer them on top of each other, that allows you to get them printed correctly. So you've got a mask. This would be my white mask layer. And you can do the same thing with this one. I don't want to show you that one. Let me pull up the print files just so I can show you the print ready files. I gotta find where they are because they are on, they're in many different spots. I think they're on my design server. How you guys doing today? Hopefully you guys are not in LA where all the awful fires are happening, which is no bueno. Okay. Print. I had these organized at one point in time, and then I put them on my design server, which is a huge mess. But I know they're titled print ready. I think they're print ready at least. Theoretically, I emailed them files though. But theoretically, I can just find them. Nah, they're right here. What is this? All right, so here's some packaged cards. So the way this works, here's the Jet Set signature folders. So these, each folder has a mask folder with it. That way that they can go in and I can go in. I ended up giving them PDF files for everything. But if we pay attention to like Jet Set Gold. So Jet Set Gold has 3 folders. That's because it has a front and a back. So I've got the front and the back and then the mask. So I'm going to just pay attention to the gold. We'll open this up. And this is done in InDesign, so I can make a nice PDF for them. And we'll open up the mask. Do I want to update modified links? Yes. Great. It's always good to see because I have no idea what it's updating. Let me open this up. Okay. Oh, some files are damaged. Great. That's always good. Oh, buddy. I know you can't see what I can see. I'm going to move it over here so you can. I do not know what is happening here. But it is... Oh, okay. They all just fixed. Never mind. Okay. So I ended up actually adding a third card to this because we had a certain amount of things. Let's delete this here. But essentially, I have this set up per the specs of the printer. Let me go to my layers panel. Layers. Because this is... Oh, my layers are over here. Because this is... Content is locked. It's not what I want. So I'm going to grab this, delete. Okay. So these are the cards. And you can see each guy... It's worked out really well. So based on the paper size, I can only fit 18 cards per paper. Per sheet. Because cards are 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. And they can print these on... What is this? 13 by 19. So giving that a border to cut with, I put on these crop marks, which I don't know if they actually needed these because they use a hydraulic press that they can just type in the number. So I need it on one end so they know where to start essentially. But I added all these crop marks in here. So each guy has a front file and a mask file to use. And these mask files ended up changing a little bit with how they were made, like I said, with spot colors. So they were more correct for the printer to work. But I got that figured out. Didn't take me too long to fix. So each guy has this mask. Each guy has this gold. Now this mask layer is the same for the blacks and for the other colors. So you can make it whatever color you want. Essentially, once you have this template, you just change this one smart object to a different color. Boom, you've got a different parallel color is what we call them. Which is why when we did those, we have like the base cards. We have silver cards. These are just silver. I'm going to break my wrist showing you this. And then we have different parallel colors. So I made a blue file, a red file, a Chapo blue file, a gold file, a black file. And then basically just say, hey, print one sheet of this. It's black. It's the one of one. There's only one of these available for people to get. So once I have these set up, this is set up in a way where when they print this, it's only going to print what you see here. It's not going to print this white, and it's going to print this red in a white color and end up being white in the end in the final files. Let me just find those for you so I can just show you what that is. Go to my Gmail. Let me go to sent. When did we print these? Printed them around here somewhere. I don't remember if we printed them though, if I put them in a folder or what. Let me put them on my Google Drive, which is going to be just complete chaos. Let's take a look. Date and 6th. No, I definitely would have. Oh, you know what I did? I uploaded them to their server on their computers. So let me just search my computer for a PDF file, and I just know they were modified at a specific time. I think it's these. I think this is what I'm looking at though. But you can see gold, so on and so forth. Each one has their own mask. Anyway, that's fine. So the way I set this up and the way I sent this out to them is I sent them PDF files that were easy to manage, easy for them to see, easy for them to know what they are. That way, when they hit print, everything should work out correctly. Everything should sync up correctly. So if you want to design a sports card and get it printed, in the back layer, I'm not going to show you the backs. They're just backs. It's just a fully opaque layer. Just very similar to what's on the front. sort of tweak it, play around, figure out where you can put content on the back. But when you're making a card, if you want to get them printed and you want to have it on holographic paper, here's what I would do. One, make sure you set up your files cleanly like this. Make sure you set up the two files, the mask for the white and the top layer that's just going to print by itself. The main thing you need to do is you need to find someone who can print it, which is the challenge. Luckily, there's a really nice printer here in Dayton, Ohio that has like a printer that they only have like 2 of in America. So luckily they're actually a sort of sponsor for Dayton basketball. So we were able to work with them. They were great. There's a company called Mainline Printing, which we used last year. I think they print like cards for Leaf, cards for Tops. So you can get in contact with them. There's also there's a company where I got paper from initially. And this whole thing spurred because I found paper. And the company's called Exceptional Papers Incorporated. So I contacted these guys because you can buy holographic paper from them. They've got a bunch of paper, which is sweet. This is how you can print posters on it. A lot of people screen print on this because it'll stick to it and you can have that white opaqueness. But these are posters that were made from their work. But this paper company works with that Mainline Printing company. You could also just contact Mainline Printing. And you can see on here, they have on here recommended printers. So depending on what you're printing and how you're printing, you can look on here and contact one of these guys to see if they have the ability of printing on holographic paper. That's the key. The key is just, can you print on holographic paper? Is it going to work with your printers you have? And then go from there. So I would find the printer, figure out what size you can put it on. The Mainline printer we used, they had huge sheets. We could print 90 cards on a sheet. These guys, a little bit different just because of the printer. And I will say the print quality these guys had was amazing. Very pleased with how that came out. So it depends on how many cards you want to print. If you want to get 90 cards made, you only need 1 sheet with those guys, a little bit more with these guys. But that's all going to factor into how you set up your files. It's like when you design something, like if you're designing an invitation, you need to start with the envelope size. You need to start with the end size. What is the end result going to be? And then I can work back from there to make sure my design fits to that. Because if you design an invitation that's a size that an envelope doesn't exist, you're not going to be able to utilize it. I know my file size for this is 2.5 by 3.5. Okay, I know how many of those can we fit on a sheet. Great. How can I set up this file to maximize prints per sheet? Luckily, there's 17 guys on the team and a coach, so we didn't do any coach autos. But for the other ones, for the base cards, these base cards here, we just had 1 sheet and basically just said each guy gets 1 card on each sheet. Print me out 30 sheets of this. We got 30 cards, maybe 25 because we have a couple extra to make sure there's some quality control with it. And then you can go from there. This project was awesome just because we printed off like 12,000 cards or something like that, that I've tweeted about, that I then hand sorted out into packs for the Dayton Flyer fans, which is cool. But yeah, so if you're going to let's recap a whole bunch of stuff. So if you're going to design a card, what I would start to do is design the card, the front, how you want it. But you want to then think about where are nice sweet spots to have something shine through, which is going to be essentially where you're going to have white. So, what if we add a white stroke to, jet set here? What if we add a stroke here? This is transparent, but what if we add a stroke here? What if we put a stroke around this? And if you look at what, Panini does with sports cards, you'll see, they did a little stroke here or a stroke around this with the logo. They did this. This is how they did this. It's just like looking at anything online for inspiration. How do they do it final production wise? And how can I emulate that or learn from that process and apply it to my work? But that is a quick little synopsis on how I designed some of these Dayton 6 sports cards and how I would go about creating any sort of card, which we could do today on stream if we want. Because what we're going to do now is we're going to make a Jahmyr Gibbs graphic. As a Bears fan, not really pleased with that. Let me hit some buttons. Yeah. It's Jamir Gibbs time on stream. Come watch me make something scratch. Hey, it actually spelled Jamir correctly this time. I had, every single time I tweeted about this, Jamir Gibbs, it just autocorrects it to Jammer. And I'm just like, that is 100% not what I wanted. Okay. Some buttons. Goo-doo-doo. Kevin, is football my favorite sport? It's probably my favorite sport. I've never really... Yeah, I mean, out of all the sports I watch Dayton Flyer basketball, the Ohio State Buckeyes, which I have on Ohio State. Go Buckeyes, horns down. My main teams, my three teams are the Ohio State Buckeyes, the Dayton Flyers, and the Chicago Bears. So those are the three ones. And then anywhere a Dayton Flyer plays. So I'm a Blazers fan, a Pacers fan. I'll be a Denver Nuggets fan next year when Deron Holmes comes back. But yeah, I would say football. American football is my favorite sport. So let's get into the meat of the stream. So we spent a nice little hour talking about some design stuff, which is great. I want to do that. I want to talk about things going on in the design world. Stuff that I think people did that looks cool. You know, I want to eventually have that intertwined into these streams. But for the rest of the day, we've got Jahmyr Gibbs here. So Jahmyr Gibbs was on my brother's fantasy football team. My brother never has played fantasy football before. He did it with his wife's family. My twin helped him out with his team, and he ended up winning the championship. It was looking a little bit rough, but he had Jamir Gibbs on his team, and he was like down by 11 points with like 5 people to play. 4 of those players were on the Vikings who didn't do anything, but then Jamir Gibbs had 4 touchdowns. So I said, okay, we'll make a Jamir Gibbs graphic. I guess he deserves it. It's kind of like when Alvin Kamara had, 7 touchdowns on Christmas? So I grabbed some inspiration from Pinterest. So this is kind of the vibe I'm going for with this. Let me make these a little bit bigger. So this is sort of the vibe. So I tried to grab photos of him in a black jersey. So we've got 4 photos to play with. We can use as many of these as we want. I've got their logo and I've got some colors that we can use. My thinking is have it blend with the background, but having this on blue would probably look cool. The lines have a really nice blue color, which I think helps. Let me see something. Should make sure the color didn't look different on here. Seemed a lot brighter before. I don't know why. But this is the general... This is stuff I pulled that I like. I liked this sort of idea of the texture blurriness in the background of maybe we have Gibbs here. Something like this. Not so much like some of this weird random techie stuff. But just some things I liked. I did like some of this line work in this, which is why I grabbed this. Really, it's more gritty layout. But I think it'd be cool if we did like Gibbs in the background. We have maybe the Lions logo here in the front. Maybe we do this sort of trick with the text to have it go around him, where it says 4 touchdowns or something like that, or Jahmyr Gibbs, or something to do with the Lions. What do the Lions say? Detroit Lions. I don't follow the Lions because I'm a Bears fan, even though they won the NFC. One Pride. So I can make it say One Pride, maybe. The sky is the limit on what we can do, though. This is nice. I think Ara made this. Pretty sure. It's kind of cool. This is sort of the vibe we like. I think this would have been cool. You know, this first shot here is very action. There's a lot of action loaded here, so we could do something coming off of this. We sort of got this, loaded grenade he's about to throw. There's a lot of cool things we can do with that. which I thought this implemented played into that really well. So we might take some stuff from this. This I like just the color on it. So pretend this orange is that blue. Maybe we have really hard black background, white text on top. Maybe not so much stuff on the sides. I just like this graphic that Jonathan Oxto made. Johnny? One of those two guys made this. Might have been Johnny. But it's pretty sweet. And then I like this hoop back here. It's sort of highlighted really... It's not really highlighted. It's just like duplicated over, but it looks like a highlight. Really cartoony. So, that's the vibe we're going for. Usually for these, I like to have some sort of idea of a goal. And that way, with our goal, if we hit that goal, then we're successful with the design. And usually that's me being like, let's do something weird. Or something like that. So what I'm going to do is I have this file set up. If you're new here, the files I usually play around with are 3000 pixels by 3750. Just give me more pixels to play with before I toss it onto Instagram. The resolution I have set at 300, which only is beneficial if I feel like printing this out. Maybe giving it to a Detroit fan or something like that. Maybe I give it to my brother and tell him he has to put it somewhere in his house. Because if you post something online, pixels don't mean anything. It's going to be 1 pixel per inch. If it's 3000 pixels, it's the same size. It's just when it comes down to printing, you got to make it a lot larger. So how many inches is this? Shoot. Let me hit escape. What is this in inches? So this is 10 by 12. So if I printed like an 8 by 10 of this, I can do that pretty easily. So that's why I set it up that way. Now, one thing I don't have set up on here that you might have seen me do before, which I will do it again. I usually like to set up guides. So if I go to guide layout, new guide layout, let's do 0.5. Let's give 5 inches. And this is going to be different. 0.5, if you're using 72 pixels per inch, that's going to be different than 300. So you can type in pixels here if you want, but I just want a little bit of a border. And let's give it a column and a row. And you know what? Let's give this some sort of grid of squares like this, which I think work out well. I've got the Lions logo here. And usually how I start is I usually start with a composition. So I grab a bunch of these different photos of him in this jersey. I edited them all. They're not all the same. Like this one's a little bit different. You can see the blues. We can always fix that later. Usually if I were just going to make something here, this is what I've been feeling lately, essentially. I'd probably use this as a silhouette. Probably go like this, put him on top. You know, this is just a silhouette, so maybe we give this a color overlay of black. Kind of like this. Silhouetted with his jersey there. Maybe this one's silhouetted instead because it's a little bit more up and down and we don't have to worry about the thing there. But he wants to be standing on it completely. What's up, Graphic Dan? And we have him in front. Maybe we put this on here somewhere. Maybe we don't. Maybe we somehow put this in here. So if we group this together, the color overlay won't affect if we go like this. So maybe he's looking, you know, he's looking in or looking out of this. That's something I think looks pretty decent when you do it, is having this sort of silhouetted image with stuff coming out of it. I know I've got some in here, like this right here. Like this is really nice. Silhouetted image with player imagery coming out. It's a motif I like to use. I think it works really well for a lot of designs. Similar here that Nick Arley made. I like what he's done. He did a lot of graphics with this nice, what's the right word? So these specific shapes in the back and then play inside of them with these grungy textures and stuff like that. So we could do something like that if it makes sense. I think what I want to do mainly is I want to use this image. This is the best image that I found. I think this was from the game. So we've got this here. So how can we implement this image and do something cool with it? So, you know, like I said, one thought was, how can we implement some of this text here? Maybe we implement this, or sort of this in the background with some grunge to it. How would that look? So let's make this black. Let's find some fonts. You know, I haven't done a good font search in a while. I usually go to Adobe Fonts or fonts.adobe.com because they're included. And this, as Bo knows from last time we were here. So I'm gonna do Gibbs. And what would actually be hilarious, what would make my wife chuckle, is if I made this NCIS themed. What's the NCIS font? It's just Euro style, right? There's a Bank Gothic. Yeah, it's Bank Gothic. Is Bank Gothic on here? So many Gothic families. Do I have Bank Gothic on this computer? Yes. Bank. Darn it. Okay. I want to use Bank Gothic. Because that's the font they use on NCIS, and Gibbs is the main character of NCIS, and that would just be very humorous to use that. Now, Euro style is very close to it. Euro style. But it's not the same. But it does look kind of nice. So the idea would be to tighten this up a lot like that. And then I like making boxes because I can just do this. I would say Gibbs at the top. And then just play the NCIS theme song this whole time. NCIS. I want this font. Where can I get Bank Gothic? Buttons. See if that worked. Right here. Install. Some more buttons. Here we go. Nope, that didn't work. Hold on. Here we go. Ah, it's right here. It's in front of my face. All right, let's install this real quick. If you want to install a font, you just download it, you open it into a font, and you install it. And we're just going to install everything. And if it breaks my computer, it breaks my computer. Okay, cool. Hold on. Just going to open that. Okay, so I want to make this Bank Gothic black. Is there not a Bank Gothic black? Did it not install black? No, it's just this. Okay, cool. So we have Gibbs in the NCIS font. I wouldn't recommend doing this. Yeah, that's why you don't do that. And I don't know if I like how this looks. So we might go back to that Euro style. Let me hide this real quick. Hide this back. So we could do something. Last time we did something really technical looking because it was really schematic based. Was the word of the day we used. Was schematic. Let me find that graphic. So I can show you that if you didn't see it. Wow, I made a lot of stuff this week. Here we go. So we made this very schematic-y looking, which turned out pretty cool. So we're gonna do something completely different, hopefully, with this. I don't know how much. Like, I was gonna ask you guys. Like, I don't think I have a specific style. I just kind of play around and do whatever I want. But I'd be interested to know if you guys think I have a specific style. And you know what? I like how Euro style looks a little bit better on this. I don't want to hit default buttons in my mind. Based on this inspiration of like some of these fonts. Like, this is cool. Just how this says Ant-Man on top, overlays on top of it. Really nice always to use sort of the whatever their jersey looks like. If I had a jersey or knew what it looked like on the back, it would be kind of nice to use. So if I want to do something similar to this, I need something a little bit taller. This, they've got some distortion on. I think we're going to steal some of that. It's a good idea. This is just a tall font. See, this is what I don't want to do. I'm going to leave this how it is. I'm going to tighten this up a little bit. Show you how I'm using the guides. So we've got Gibbs. I want this to say Jamir on top. Jahmyr. And this needs to be something super contrasting. And it's going to be this blue color. copy this blue color, take this, paste it here. It's on top. There. Really crappy looking graphic. Love it. And what we might do is we might take that color and we might really accentuate it. Or we might make this that color. Then we make Jamir white. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. Also just go here to color and change it. This might read better with what we want. So maybe we have black and we have blue on top and that sort of throws into the background a little bit and we have all this stuff in front of it. That's what I'm thinking. So let's go back here and let me type in Jamir. And based on, oh, I just searched for Jamir fonts, which don't exist. Based on some of this inspiration, like this is nice, but we want something hand drawn. Let me browse all. Let me type in Jamir. Spelled it wrong. Jamir. And I had to look up how to spell his name like 6 times. And I want something hand drawn. Where's that section? Hand. Okay. So now I can search for only stuff hand drawn. So do I want to go super graffiti is the word. Do I want to go super graffiti with it or not? Stereotypically, no. But maybe. I sync that font because I like it. This is too bloody. I'm going to add this to my fonts though because it'll come in handy around Halloween season. It's sort of a thing of we're looking for something that's handwritten but not playful. Most of these are handwritten and playful. And some of these might not work for what we want. This is borderline. Still too playful. And I might want to look for something that's actually a script. A hand-drawn scripty font instead of something like this. Which I think is what some of this inspiration is. This is just really nice. I just like this. I like this idea. Who made this? Oh, Cordy Visuals made this. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. Go follow Cordy Visuals. Where's that font? See, like this is hand-drawn, playful, but scripty. So let's see here. I'm not against that first font we synced, which I do not remember the name of. Should probably write that down. Let's go back to the front. Let's see what that font looks like actually. It's CC Fat Boy. All right, so let's go here. CC at CC Fat Boy, regular or bold? Bold. Dan, I get most of my inspiration from stuff I see online and then Pinterest. You know, I hop on Pinterest all the time. Here's what my Pinterest looks like right now. I like to play a game with my friends in the design world to basically, you know, refresh and see if any of our stuff pops up. If it doesn't, we got to work harder. This is Nick Arley. We're doing good right now. I think Johnny made this. Did Johnny make this? Who made this one? I don't remember who made that one. But I'll just look on here and just basically go down a rabbit hole of stuff I like. And I've been trying to find stuff that's not sports related at all. That way we're not in this just cyclical, everyone's copying everybody in the design sports world. So that's why I'll click on, you know, just stuff I think looks nice, like how, and it's more of a conceptual way. Like this is nice that Flynn made. I think I talked about him the stream we did last week, which is how he's using this shape as a container for the background of this. It's just really nice, you know, stuff like that. And then once you get there, you can come down and just see other stuff like this is cool, just how simple shapes are intertwining with this. You know, that's kind of nice. So I'll just hop on Pinterest and just look and try and find stuff. It really just depends on the vibe I want to go for. So if I want to sort of steal the flow of that, we've got Gibbs here. What I don't want to do is I don't want to mess these guides up. So I'm going to clear existing guides. And then I'm going to go up to view and I'm going to lock these guides. That way I don't accidentally move them. Okay. So I think really what I want to do, thinking about this now, is I really want to, I'm going to use the word, like I want to do something like this with Gibbs and the throwing and the thing. Sort of like this QWERTY visuals graphic. And how can we implement some of this other stuff later? But I think this is really strong and really cool and would work really well with this. So how do we go about doing that? That's the question. So I'm going to take the lion's shape. And I'm going to duplicate this just so I have a lion shape that's untainted. And I'm going to just blow this up. And start it right here. Where this ball is. And I'm doing that because I want to utilize... I don't want to just go in here. And I don't want to just grab the stupid pen tool and be like, oh, look. He's throwing the ball. Am I even drawing? What is happening? That shouldn't happen. Was it linked to something? That's why it broke? Yeah, okay. That was weird. I don't want to do this and then be like, oh, here's my fill, which like looks fine. But this is like the vibe we're going to get. But to make it more interesting, let me delete that. So let me do this and get rid of the stroke. Like this is what we're sort of going to deal with, but we're going to do it with really specific shapes. So instead, we're going to grab a regular brush. We don't need this hardened brush. And we're going to paint this back in up to wherever it's going to be here. You know, if it starts here, this is where the throw starts. I'll take that, I'll duplicate it, flip it and reverse it. There's your gap, and then toss this here. So it is some sort of a shape. Maybe we take this here. I want to use this side, so let me just flip the height, maybe. And Dan, I don't think it's a problem to have too many Pinterest boards. That's what Pinterest is for. Pinterest wants you to have all those boards. Hold on. Yes, I want this here. And we'll just make this larger. And the good thing is these are vector smart objects, so we can make them as big as we want, and it's not going to matter. So we'll go like this. Okay, cool. So I just need to mask this out like this. I don't really care what it looks like on the inside like this, because we're just going to go like this and make it into a smart object. And then we're just going to make it a single color. And the color overlay is going to be that blue color. This specific blue color. And what we're going to do is we're probably going to tweak the blues later and make them match a little bit better. But we have this sort of outward shape. It actually kind of looks like smoke too. But it's a more interesting shape than just two lines. What I want to do real quick though is you see on this photo, this is not the photo of Gibbs. He's got this huge reflection around him from everything. So I'm going to fix that. So like, let me disable this layer mask. So I mean, it's got all this blue bleeding into it. And I want to fix that so it fits this a little bit better. A recent graphic you made that you haven't released inspo is from chess. Have you seen the chess graphic I made? I made a chess graphic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go around here. I'm going to grab, I'm going to use a regular brush. Oh, you haven't seen it? I'll pull it up in a sec. What's the, is it a chess graphic or is it just inspired by chess? So I'm just going to grab a brush and just grab a layer that is set to color and just make this dark. And you know what I might do is I just might paint over all of this. Just to get rid of this color cast. And there's probably a bunch of different ways to do it. This is just a really nice way of doing it. Because it's just going to get rid of all this color cast. It's just going to recolor everything to be black. Or it's desaturating everything essentially, which is kind of what I want for part of this. Now here, I'm going to grab this color of the ball and paint over it. And I'm going to paint over not his pants. So we can go like this. Paint here, paint here, paint here. I'm going to grab black and just paint on this glove real quick. Here I might do a couple things. They're black and white themed stripe for the shirts. For this next thing that came to your head was a chessboard. I made a graphic for the America's Cup, I think. I watched a lot of chess on Twitch and YouTube last year. Hikaru Nakamura is a good streamer. He's a full-time streamer now. Like, he's not a professional chess player anymore because he streams and makes more money streaming. So why would you not? Let me see if I can find it. Oh, I guess I can search my computer. I'm at my computer. So I made a graphic from when he won something. So I made this. So he was the 2013 America's Cup champion. He likes to wear this shirt that has a bunch of pineapples on it. So I made it super pineapple-y themed. Chessboard at the front. And then people like to spam. Spam the flower to give Hikaru power is what they spam. But chess inspired, fun. Not a lot of photos of him to find, but you know, we work with what we have. Which is also another fun challenge of like, hey, this is the only photo of this guy on the internet that's gonna work. So like, figure it out. So we're gonna get rid of this. I don't want to get rid of the blue there, but you can see the difference from here and here. It's where this overcast is. And there's a better way we can probably do this. Like, we can probably use like a hue and saturation layer or maybe a selective color layer. But we're just gonna paint this in here like this, just real delicately. And it's just gonna look better. It's just gonna fit with our background better. And a lot of this is probably because of the like really drastic editing I did on this. It's kind of a crunchy looking image. Like, you can see this. I don't even know if this is JPEG artifacting or what. But we'll just go in here, lighten this up a little bit. I'll leave lines like that. We got to get right here. Oh yeah, we got to cover the whole wrist here. Get his glove. I don't care what color his glove is. It's black now. Grab this color so it's more natural on the skin. I want to do that down here too. Yep, I probably want to fix that. Let's get rid of that. I should have done this before, but this is fun to look at. And a nice little tip too is just grab a color layer. So it looked like this. Crap. So I saved and quit out of that. It's going to update the smart object automatically, but the black background's on there, which we don't want. So we're going to save, go back. And now we're here. So this looks better than what it looked like before. Now I'm going to take this, convert this to another smart object. One thing, let me open this up. Like, there's this big area here that I don't want this on there. It's not going to show up, but if I scale something, it might pop up later. One thing I will never not do is basically use gradient overlays. Set to overlay, just basic gradients like this. And then set them to like 50%. Look at that. Look how nice that looks. Now, maybe we want to change the place that gradient looks. So what we could do instead is add a gradient on top of this. Change the gradient fill to something like this. Just hit OK. Mask it to that and set it to overlay. That way we can say, hey, make the gradient go, you know, here to here, or we make the gradient go here to here. And then we just set it to 50%. That way we have some more purpose with the angle of what we're using. So we've got Jahmyr Gibbs here. We've got that there. I'm trying to think of what do we want to do in the background here, and then what do we have here? I think we should have two different sort of scenes. So can we play around with these guys and put these guys in here then? I think that might be the play. So I have Jahmyr Gibbs kind of like this. And then this guy, we'll put him back down here. So he's in here too. Maybe he's on top of this guy. Screaming, and then, I don't know, do we have just one more guy up at the top? I don't really like how that looks. The scream is very, there's a lot of emotion with it. So like, I want this to be sort of highlighted a little bit better. But I want contrast with it as well. And this photo just might not work of him running. Put it back up here. This back down here. Let's just grab the lines logo and let's just put it up top here real quick. Just put that there. Maybe we get rid of it. Really, there's no motion in that image. There's emotion in these images, though. Let's look at some of our inspiration. Where are you at? Alright. What did he do here? Okay. That works because one's going one way, one's going the other way. So it would really make sense for something to be looking to the right, but it's not. But that's fine. These blend in really nicely. This all blends in perfectly right here. This covers it coming out. Dynamic stuff inside. Lots of cool shapes and stuff on top. Okay. I want to do this. I want to steal this. We're going to do that. Let's do that first. Oops. I don't know how we can do that with this image, though, because it'd have to be like here. It wouldn't rotate well. It would kind of get in the way of this. Maybe we put it on his leg and have it say Jamir Gibbs or something like that. Making it super, what's the word? Blade Runner sort of esque. Take this, we're going to duplicate this, we're going to take the background, set it to screen, we're going to give it a Gaussian blur of 15, of 25, of 50. Okay, we're going to take this top one and we're going to Gaussian blur it like 3 pixels, 5 pixels. Come on. I don't hate how this looks. I would just need to like group these together or grab this and put these all into a group and go like this if we want something to come out of it. We'll figure that out later. Let's work with just this guy here. Maybe we put actually this guy somewhere and it says Gibbs. Yeah, we can't do the Gibbs thing because there's no good like straight up and down. Like it works here because this is one way and you can go around it. Nothing's getting in the way of that. We're here, we have to go this way and cover the ball, which might look weird. Let's just try it and see what happens. So, Jamir Gibbs. Spell his name right. I spelled Wemby's name wrong on the stream I did last week and nobody said anything. So I had to fix that. We can use this Bank Gothic font now. Because it's nice and fat. So I think the way you do this, there's a couple different ways. Let me tighten this up again. We do what? We go to edit, transform, and we warp it. And we just arch it. We arch it like 20, like 35, and then we take this one, we just do the opposite. Isn't that how we do that? I think that's how we do that. See, sort of like that, but make it more of a circle. How do we do that? It's a different way. It's not that. I can fix the transform. See, this would make more sense. Can we change this? Nope. Nope. Oh, what we need to do is just do this, but it needs to be not so sharp. See how sharp it is? What is this? We go... what is the button? I think they might warp it themselves. Not use a default thing. So we can grab this. Can we not just grab this? We should be able to grab the perspective. Yeah. Don't care. Oh god. I didn't want to hit this, did I? Yeah. I have no idea what I'm doing there. Hit Command Z like 8 times. There we go. Okay. It's kind of like this, but not like this. So let me just tighten this up. Now it looks like crap. How do we do this? It's like a really simple thing. One, we need to take this and reverse it. And we need this to say Jahmyr Gibbs more than once. Jahmyr Gibbs. Well, let's do number 26. Let me tighten this up. We paste it twice. So we have it on there pasted twice. Okay, so let me go back up to edit, transform, warp. Get rid of this warp. And use this as the base. But I do not like this font. We're just going to use tungsten because we want to be real basic today. Be a basic Brad today and just use tungsten. -10. Boost this up. Jamir Gibbs, great. I'm going to convert this to a smart object. That might help a little bit. So now we go to transform. We warp it. We can warp it better. And I want it to bend. I just don't know what the magic number is. Because it's not rounding on the edges, essentially. Because I can take this and then flip it around. And then go here and go to transform warp. But it's the edges that's the problem. See what I mean? This is kind of the idea. But this, the edges are real tight and narrow. I don't want to look it up because we're streaming. We're on stream. I want to figure this out. It's pretty much that, but not that. I'm trying to think of if they use this as a pattern. God, I like how this looks. This is just cool. This is just cool. Okay, let's not do that then, because we don't know what we're doing. We're just guessing. Okay, we're gonna try and use some cool stuff from this. So this is where his leg went, right? So this is where maybe we add some sort of, let's do this. Let's make a new layer. Can I grab the brush? Can I edit these tool settings? No. Let's do this instead then. Yeah, we're gonna take a screenshot of this. And we're gonna toss that bad boy into Illustrator. Take this, toss this bad boy here. Now we're in Illustrator. We got 2 of them. Great. We don't need 2 of them. Shut up. Just let me do what I want. All right, so I'm gonna grab the brush tool. I should be able to double click the brush tool, make it real smooth. Make it real. Bigger. Make it bigger. That way I can go like this and sort of draw some swoops, and then they do that, which might be kind of cool. Really kind of copying what that other guy does, but I think it looks cool. So this is what I can do. I can copy this then, and then just paste this here behind Gibbs and put it right here, which looks fun. Maybe we set this to overlay or normal or screen or something like that, or give it an outline, or I don't know. We have it. It's here. Is it copying too much of what he did? Probably. What might look good up here is if we grab this Jamir Gibbs text up here, duplicate this, put this up here, and make this white, but we put it inside of this. So this is nice. A little bit of overlay, a Looks kind of cool. Maybe we grunge this up a little bit later. Actually, I probably have in my library some grunge files I like. I don't really want this one. I don't think. Yeah, I don't want that one. Some better ones down here. This is stuff I use with Princeton. There's too many halftones though, because I use a lot of halftones with stuff. But I can just put some concrete on this. Just give a little bit of texture to that. Duplicate it a couple times. Maybe we grab, oh, we can pop this back out. There we go. Go to adjustments, levels. I don't know. Pull this in a bunch. Pull this out a bunch. Put it to this. Set this to multiply. Gibbs. I don't know. This is the bones of what we've got going on. And we have plenty of time to figure it out. Do we want to turn this into a sports card? And do we want to do something like... I have that card. Hello, love for the hobby. This I'm just making a random design with Jamir Gibbs on it. I showcased a little bit before how I made, or how I designed and got these Dayton 6 sports cards made for their NIL. I think we might turn this into like a color blast sort of card, because it would look cool with this in the background. That would take like 5 seconds if we actually made it just into a color blast. So we're not going to do that, because really just make this and then give this like an outline and then we're done. And it's 100% what it is. It's 2 Lions logos flipped around. That way we're using something less generic based off of this inspiration mainly, which is kind of fun. This is the kind of stuff I was looking at for inspiration for this, and you know, we're just trying to figure out what to do. I like this in the background. Really, I like the blurriness of this. Let me put this into a thing. Put this here. Do this. Do this. And this is one thing I liked. I did a lot of randomly. Let's do it again. Let's do a tilt shift blur. We're gonna put it up here. We're gonna rotate it like this. We're gonna have it start here and end on the letter. We're gonna have this start sort of in the same spot and end on the letter. We can set this to like 50. Maybe we rotate it a little bit more. That's right here. Rotate, rotate, rotate. We don't need bokeh and, well, no, that's fine. We want to add noise though. We want to add a lot of grain. A little bit of grain. Maybe we set this up to be like 75. Drop this back. Drop this back. I don't want it to like suck out the soul of the G. If we put this up here, I think the blur's just too much is really what it is. So this is here, and then this comes down to like here. Gibbs. Okay, so I can take this and we can drop this in here. Can delete this, and then I can just put this in a group and give this a color overlay of white. So for like these cards we made these and had these available for Dayton fans, and we sold packs of those. I haven't gone outside beyond that, making cards and selling them. It's something I kind of aspired to do last year after knowing this process works, doing something like Tyson Beck does, except people know who Tyson Beck is, which is the reason that like he's been so successful growing what he can do and working directly with tops. Like Tyson has what? Tyson has 91,000 followers and has been doing it for a while. I would need to start somewhere, which I've thought about doing. I've reached out to a couple different athletes to be like, hey, I want to make these sports cards. I'll take care of everything. You know, what is it to what's the fee per autograph? What's the fee to use your name, image, and likeness, essentially? And that's pretty much what it boils down to. I'm going to mask this layer out with a bunch of scratch brushes, scratch texture. And part of the issue with like selling cards like that is, you know, demand. Is there demand for it? Kind of, sort of, depending on the player. Is there availability to even... Why is this so blurry? That's really weird. Hold on. Why is it so pixelated? It should look like this. Oh, the blur gallery is completely messed up on it. What? That doesn't make any sense. I'm very confused as to why this is happening. Let me do this. Is this set to anything specific? No. Let me delete this layer mask. Why is this blurry and pixelated? There's no reason this should be blurry or pixelated at all. Oh, is that why? Hold on, let me drop this down. Oh, wow. Why does this look so busted? What is this doing? Why is that happening? So everything looks normal here, but because I have this texture on it, oh, it's because it's blurring everything. So with this texture, so I can't do that. Oh, shoot. Okay. I need to delete this. So back to like selling cards. So why? The blur gallery shouldn't be doing that. It shouldn't be blurring the edges at all. Why is it blurring the edges? It shouldn't be doing this. Is it because of the bokeh effects? Stupid bokeh effects. Alright. Like, people don't want unlicensed cards, is what it is. So, with sports cards, there's... Oh, God. Let me just quit out of all this. Okay, let me fix this, because I know what to do. With sports cards, people want the logos on there. They don't want something that doesn't have a logo on it. So, like, you can go and get unlicensed cards from, like, Leaf, which some people buy. I know On It Athlete has done cards where it's the same thing, where you can go and buy cards from them. This over here. Oh, actually, can I just turn this on and it's in the right spot? No, okay. Let me put this back up here where it belongs, but go like this. There we go. So the issue would sort of be like, what athlete could I do that people want to buy cards of and will buy cards from me? I am nobody. So why would anyone buy a card from me if they can buy a card from someone else? So like, here's an example. Here's Tyson Beck's. Let me show you his website real quick. So he has a collector's club, which is a really good idea. But like, these are the cards you can get. So like, here's an example. So he came out with this set called Luminary. They're nice looking cards. You know, there's nothing crazy about these. It's more of access to the celebrity's autograph. They're nicely designed. He's got his style on this. But if you look at the card, you know, it's two circles with some cool designs inside of it, which are nice. And then an autograph on it. Some of this other stuff he's done is a lot crazier. But that's what sports cards are. I mean, these Dayton sports cards I made, you know, this is just a thing where, you know, you add a player onto it. Which is good for him because he's branching out. I would have to make something so crazy out of the box to start, to get my name out there. Then I can start doing stuff like this. Because, for instance, like this Tyrese Halliburton autograph, limited to 29, it's $180. Nobody's going to buy a card from me for $180, regardless of who's on it. So like Barry Sanders here, you can see this is unlicensed because you can see there's no Lions logo on it. There's no NFL insignia. It's just a photo he paid for, was able to use, scrubbed all the logos off of it, which is what I would have to do as well. So there's a whole bunch of stuff around it. Like I would need to get permission from the players, and then I would need to find the right photos, pay for the photos. That's cost up front, cost for print. I'd have to figure out what my break-even point would be if I even sold any of these cards. And the issue with that is my break-even point for cards might be 60, 70 bucks a card. Which are people going to do that unless it's someone that's like top tier? And those people are probably signed with Fanatics, because Fanatics knows what they're doing. Anyway, get back to this. Let me flip this around. And the height. Kind of like this. Get rid of the Gaussian blur. Let's put this back here. And actually, let's give this a color fill of this. Color fill. Color overlay. And I want to give it a color overlay of this gray. And that looks stupid. And we don't want to do that. Okay, cool. So we got Gibbs text up here. This seems too generic. Yeah, there's a ton to think about if I want to do this the most legal way possible. Like, I know there are people out there who like create these little clubs on Instagram, and they're like, oh, you can get an exclusive card here, but you're just paying for access, and it's like super secret and limited because they don't want people to find out, and they don't want the NFL to be sending them cease and desists on using images incorrectly and stuff like that. So that's where I'm at in that process. Really is I just need to bite the bullet on cost and figure that out. And once I do that, it'll be a lot easier to figure out what I can do from there. Okay, we got Gibbs there. We've got this thing going on. What else do we have? Yeah, you can easily get sued. If you're using stuff that you don't have permission to. Because in order to use like an NFL and NBA license, it's a lot of money. And there's exclusive rights now with Fanatics. You can't even do it. But like I know someone made this, what was it? They made this like Derrick Henry shirt or something like that. And it had a photo on it of Derrick Henry like running, and it has the NFL logo on it. And like they told him to stop making it. And everyone was all like, oh, let him make this stuff. It's like, you can't do that. Like, there are logos on there. You can't just use that. See, we got sort of this going on, but not really. This looks a little bit better than that. It's got this sort of thing going there. I like this idea. I like the black, though. I just like this sort of anime swooshing stuff on here. Again, this is another Cordy Visuals graphic. We're doing a lot of Cordy inspiration here today. Okay, so let's do we can do some like cool lighting stuff coming from this maybe. Maybe we put a shape around this or something like that. Do I want to do that here or not? Yeah, the animat graphics is great. I think a lot of it comes down to like him finding those specific assets that just really make that sing. One thing I'm trying to work on too is like little details of stuff adding in. That some of these have really nice details of, okay. Sort of facing it. Maybe it's here. Okay, this is what I want to do. I want to go to Illustrator. I want to go here, and I want to draw a ellipse that is the shape of a football. Football like that. Make it a little bit larger. No, I didn't make this. Like I made this as Cordy Visuals. spelled his name wrong now. Cordy. Dylan Cordiero. Or Cordero. This guy. He made that. None of his Instagram's popping up. Hilariously. Oh, Cordy made this one. Man, see, we're just looking at all sorts of Cordy stuff. But he made this. He does a lot of really good photo manipulation. Here we go. So yeah, it's right here. So we made this last year at some point in time. So it's about figuring out how to draw this stuff or finding assets to draw this. And then finding the right photos. Like this is a really good photo from below that he might have stitched together. Not certain. But he made this last May. So follow him. It's a good follow. We're going to zigzag this. Kind of like this. Let's do 0.05. Make this a little bit larger. Copy that. And then we can paste this back here. This does not look how I want. Look at this. Yeah, it looks too more like, doesn't have a shock factor to it, is really what it is. Let me move this over here so I can look at it. Let's go to effects, distort and transform, pucker and blow just a little bit. I want it to pucker just a teeny bit. Or do I want this to just like emit? Do I want to turn this into smoke instead? And then this is emitting something and we can sort of try and color in this. I don't really want to do that because I don't like doing all that coloring sometimes. Okay, we have this. Let me copy this, put this here. Let's put Gibbs here. Take this, you can duplicate it up here, get rid of this so it breaks out of it. Let me just grab a brush and see how this looks. Kind of like this. But we only want it to be his helmet. So get rid of this. Come down here and we get rid of this stuff here. And kind of like that. So he's like breaking out of it, but you know, it kind of looks like whatever. Let's do the same thing with this guy. So I'm trying to think compositionally what looks good. Because really, once you have a solid composition, everything else falls into place from that. Let me make him smaller. Put him, distort him on accident. No, we're good. Let's put him really down here. And let's take this and distort it or stretch it out like this. It's just gonna give us more room for composition. And then we can go in here and I can just sort of paint in whatever. It's just gonna mess it up. Yeah, it's gonna mess it up. Deletes. Oh, I can just group this together and then just give the color overlay here, there. Now if I go in here and paint, it'll paint blue only. So if we save that, go back here, save that, go back over here. It's kind of where I want. But I can take all of these and manipulate them a teeny bit, but not really. And go like this. Go back. Go here, go here. Actually, I can go here. I can just shave off part of this edge, kind of like this. Here, I'll shave it off. Why do you not change? Oh, did I not shave off enough? Save. There we go. It's a little bit better. Okay. So we've got this as our bones now. A little bit different. Need to delete this, put this here. Theoretically delete this, put that there. I kind of don't care if you can read Gibbs or not. It's just kind of there. So I'm going to take both of them. And we're going to make it just a little bit smaller. Do I want to duplicate it? No, I don't think I want to. Okay, now let's fuss around with these guys. Mainly this Gibbs. And what's going to make this whole graphic look better, I feel, is if he doesn't have now that's interesting. Is if he doesn't have colored in skin. So we're going to use a gradient map. And we're going to make his skin black and white. I don't know the preferred way people do this. I like using gradient maps. Really just means I gotta hit that button that says gradient map and a little rock solo, but if you have a preferred way of making skin black and white, you let me know. Rafiq, so in terms of cutting out, I would have like the printer do that. Getting a perfect cut, it's really about I have some in here I cut out myself even. One, it's about having that bleed and having that area, so if you mess up you can do it, but it's about speed and pace. So like I made these Suni Lee cards that I cut out, and they're not perfect. The issue is you're just gonna get better quality if you have a big old pneumatic press that cuts them all off. But if you're producing a small batch, it's really just about making sure everything lines up, making sure your bleed marks are in the right spot, so you have your bleed marks set up. So if you do have an error, you can go outside, you can fix it. I will say when you're cutting something out, you want to make sure that if you're using a ruler, you're cutting with your dominant hand on the side outside of your design. So for instance, on this, I have these crop marks up here. So if I wanted to cut this, I want to make sure that this area that doesn't matter is on the right side. And when I cut it off. So if I slip off onto this here, and I don't slip onto where the card is. So if I'm cutting it, I cut here where my ruler is covering up this. So when I cut this out, if I slip, I can go back and cut it normally. Now what I would say is you probably want the printer, if you're getting these commercially printed, which is going to be the best way to get like holographic textures and stuff, you're going to want them to just cut it out for you, because it's going to be one off of your hands. They probably have the equipment to do it. And then if something messes up, you're not liable for it. They are, because they're the ones printing it. Let me know if that answered sort of your questions. In terms of like designing cards and getting them printed and stuff, like I can get test run stuff ran, but I usually don't do one-offs, mainly because of like just the print cost of getting everything set up. There's cost associated with getting the printer set up, doing test prints, making sure that the printer is successfully going to get ready. They call it make ready. Making sure that the printer can handle it, making sure they don't run into any issues with the printer. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, I like how this looks better. And you know what I don't want? I don't think I want this blur. Let me get rid of that. We're going to take the same thing. I heard something weird. We're going to put it here. And we are going to do this. The thing with getting stuff printed, like, you know, if it's multiple dollars per shirt, if it's multiple dollars per sheet, you know, it's going to be a big upfront cost. Let me fix this. Hold on one second. Thought I heard something. It was Penny. So she's gonna hang out here. This is Penny. She's adorable. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, answers my question. Do you use a local printer or an online service? I'm curious for the print sheet you just showed. That print sheet there was done at a local printer here in Ohio. It worked out because I went and like toured their facilities and went and talked to them. I sent them these files. They verified with their paper supplier that this is a this paper works with the specific printer they use. That way they know that it's not going to jam up or break the printer, which is important. But if you want to look at some other printers, you can try emailing Mainline Printing. I haven't used them directly. I use them through a company called Exceptional Papers, which is where I got some paper samples from. And they were able to get some cards for me printed. And they'll send you a test sheet too. If you send them off like the files to get printed, you can get a test sheet done with them. That's what I did. I forget how much it was, but the main thing is like shipping. Like you're gonna pay freight for shipping for one big, huge, long sheet because they don't want to roll the sheets up because you're gonna print on them. So you got to pay for like a 40 by 28 sheet of paper to be nice and flat. Which is nice that I could get this printed locally, so we didn't have to ship anything. I just went and picked it up because we're like 15 minutes away from my house. But this is also the first time this place had done anything like this. So this was sort of a test for them to see what happened, and they came up with some hiccups along the way that they sort of figured workarounds for that we now know that we have to utilize for the future. See how it looks cool. Let's do that here. Let's paste this. Let's do this. I'm not designing out a handicap because I have a dog on my lap. I just want her to behave. Black and white. Oops. But yeah, with like cards, it's like how much I need to make sure I have sort of enough money saved up through my business to be like, okay, if I, you know, I don't know, blow. How much money am I willing to risk up front? Am I willing to risk $1,000, $2,000, $3,000? What's the line? Who wants to sign on? Who will buy into this idea? Who knows enough about sports cards that knows about this? Because a lot of times, like the athletes that you see in college, you know, they just get sent a sticker sheet from a company, and it's just here, we'll give you $5, $10, $15, $20 a sheet, sign these. And if that's the case, they just say, okay, I'm just going to sign the sheet, get it back to you by X date, and they put a little sticker on the card. But I wouldn't want to do that. I would want to do on-card autographs. So I would, you know, basically say, okay, I'm going to send you these. Send me the cards back at X time. can go from there. Okay, this is really, really bugging me. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I just want to do this. I just want to make this black and white because it does not match at all to the other ones, and it needs to. And I thought about, I guess we can add it in there. I was gonna say, does Jahmyr Gibbs have any nicknames? They call him and David Montgomery Sonic and Knuckles, I think. I don't know if I'm assuming he's Sonic and David Montgomery's Knuckles, but we can figure that out. Yeah, I mean, Tyson's journey, I know some of it. I can tell you a little bit of it. Like, he started doing sports design a lot earlier than a lot of people. Like, he got in and started doing it at a really good time. But like, he did work for the Lakers, like for social media in like 2009 or something like that. And he's had a relationship with Topps and or Panini for like over a decade. Like, he has a Topps Fire set. So he, did sports design for clients and freelance, which is sort of what I do, which is what I do now. And he did like the Topps 2020. He had a little set in there from his relationship with them of making cards with that, but he wanted to try and do it on his own. So after that 2020 sort of batch of stuff he did, he went and made his own sports card. I forget the first one he did. It might have been Jason Tatum, but he did like Devonta Smith early on, like when he was a Heisman winner, and made some cards from there. But he has sort of these relationships built from designing stuff for Panini for a while. And then he bet on himself one day is really what happened, which, like, betting on yourself is a good idea. Like, I would bet on myself to do that. Part of it is he bet on himself at a really good time because he has such this nice following. I don't have that following yet. You have to start somewhere though. Like, so that's why for me it's, what's the risk? What am I willing to risk to do this? Because like, I can see how much, or not can see, but like, I can go on his website and be like, oh, you're theoretically making X amount of dollars for selling these cards. Like I showed a card earlier. One specific card was only $180 or was $180, which some people is a lot, some people isn't. Some cards he sells on there are like $2,000. You can sell, he's got on there, like, bid on this 1 of 1 Steph Curry card. Steph Curry. It's at $4,800 right now. So when you're selling one card for $4,800, that helps with the overall, profit, but just feasibility of continuing to do that. How can I blend these in together? So the issue is these are two similar images. Like, I can put this in front and have this sort of blend in down here. Let's go paint him in. So where I'm at now is, I'm freelancing now. I've only emailed, I've emailed a couple of people about doing this. I've had one person email me back. I emailed a couple agencies. That's the thing too, is like, I'm not connected, I don't know people. And I'm sure Tyson had to start somewhere. So I don't know, like, oh, I don't want to like cold DM an athlete. What's up, Ryan? I don't want to cold DM an athlete because, like, are they going to see it? Do I talk to their agent? Do I figure out what their email address is? You know, I don't want to. It's part of it is like I don't want to like bug people online, but like I should bug people online. Be like, hey, I want to make you money. What's that number? You tell me that number, and we'll go from there. And that's the last I was at. I emailed one athlete in particular because they follow me on Instagram, so I know they know who I am. But I never heard back from them. But they might have been busy. I might follow up with them on this year. But again, still, even with specific athletes, like they have to be in demand because people are gonna. There's two things people are gonna want. They're gonna want popular athletes, and they're gonna want cards people want. They're gonna want some sort of resale value theoretically. Like people try and flip and scalp Tyson's cards all the time. It's like super annoying for him because all these bots swoop in and they're like, "Hi, we're gonna buy all these cards. Your fans can't actually buy them because we have them all. Sorry." And then they're screwed. And there's nothing Tyson can do. And there's only so much Tyson can do about it, which is why he holds them back. That's why he started that collectors club. And so he can ensure that people who are actual fans and people who are paying to be in this club get value from it. This is a little bit better. So what I'm thinking right now is I'm trying to think of composition scale. So like what do I want the eye to see first, second, and third? Let's do this whole thing again. Part of the issue over here is I don't want to completely destroy this cool shape we have. Because we have a cool shape going on, but I want to make sure that there's something breaking out of this container. We can go like this. Oh, we don't want the... There. Okay, that's better. This is kind of fine. So let me look up again. Jahmyr Gibbs. He is Sonic. Okay. So we can add some Sonic elements to this, maybe? Don't you love how you can't see his name anymore at all? So what's the point of having it there? Good call. We'll get rid of it and add it back in later. But that'll allow me to lower some of this stuff then as well. I can lower this a little bit. Maybe we put this right here. So you can still see some of that going on. Boost this up a little bit. And then maybe we make this a little bit larger. And then we figure out how to blend all these in together. And then look at this big old area down here that we can add stuff to it. So let's do this. That is not, it's called the Green Hill Zone. Green Hill. Yeah. Yeah, Green Hill Zone. Oh, if I incorporated the wrong Sonic, that'd be funny. Yeah. We can do that. No, we can do that. I know what we can do too for it. So one of the assignments I had in this class I taught was tracing over logos, and one of them was the Sonic logo. Is this just an SVG? Oh, I'm just gonna download this to be easier. Oh god. I'm like, how can I download this? But I can just drag it to my desktop like a normal person. Okay, so I downloaded the Sonic logo here. Let me just pull out Sonic. Oh, it's a ping file? Whatever. I'll show you how you can do this. So one of the assignments is trace over logos. So one thing I showed my students how to do is one of them is the Sonic logo. So what I can do is I can just go here, use the trusty pen tool inside Illustrator, which is the only reason you should use the pen tool. Because I said so. Let me go to my layers. What am I clicking on? Okay, this is layers. I don't want this to, I want this to be, I don't want it to be light blue because I can't see what the hell I'm doing. Whatever, make it orange? Sure. Okay, now it's orange. Get rid of the white. So what you can do to trace over this logo easily is you just grab these corners and you just make sure it lines up at the middle of this line. Like this. And I'm only paying attention to the middle of the line. And I do not want this thing to snap. Do not snap to point. Do not snap to glyph. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. View, smart guides, get off. I do not want that. I want to manipulate this however I want. So basically go like this. And they're in the right spot. So then all we really have to do is we just grab these corners. And we just round them. We go yoink. Kind of like that. Maybe we take this one and we make it a little less. Grab this one, we make it a little bit less. That one looks kind of okay. We grab these two. Oh, those are sharp. We grab this one and we yoink it a little bit. Maybe we... Oh no, we'll just yoink it a little bit like that. We'll take this one and we'll... This one got screwed up a little bit, so I gotta fix it. There we go. And we'll do that. There. Now all I have to do is just thick. And copy. There. Now we have a Sonic logo. So let's incorporate this somewhere in here. So I can paste this here. Because this is just like a shape now. Which is a cool shape. And maybe we just have it as a stroke like this. We take the fill. And we just have it like kind of down here. And we do something with his name or something like that inside it. Or we have this like pattern somewhere. Or like it could just be in the background. You know, we can like blow it up like this. And it's just set to like overlay something. And we do something like this. Where we know it's there. Nobody else does. Let me turn this on. What if I do that? Do we like this better? No, we don't. But if I make this 1%, it makes it a little bit, or make it 25%, and we just gradient it up. It's gonna give me, oh, it didn't give me an error. It's nice. For some reason, Photoshop's been giving me a lot of errors when I've been trying to manipulate gradients. Why is this there? This should be here. And then invert. Okay, there we go. There, so there's the Sonic logo in here. And we'll figure out what we want to do with that. Maybe we rotate it. It's just like a cool looking shape. Because we can incorporate that shape in a couple other spots. Which would be pretty cool. Okay, I'm just making sure I don't have any like emergency client work that needs to be fixed. Okay, so I'm going to take this and duplicate it. Oh, this is such a screen. Oh, this is normal. That looks better. That's why this looked like crap before, because it was set to screen. But the black looks better anyway. Take this. We're going to give this a gradient, not a gradient overlay. We're just going to give it a color overlay. Color overlay. Give a color overlay. That's great. So this is a thing now. So I can just... You know, we're going to puppet warp this. We go to edit, puppet warp. Stick some pins in this so we want it to stay or move somewhere. And we're just going to go, I want this to be out here. And I want this to be out here. And then maybe we bust this out a little bit. And we take this out and we go like that. But then we wave it back in here. But then we have it come back out here. I don't know. I'm just sort of playing around with the puppet warp. But it's going to make it a little bit more interesting. Just a teeny bit more interesting. Okay. Let's go back to this. Okay, I do like what's going on here. I do like sort of what we have. I feel like some of this, let me just for now hide this Sonic logo. Sonic. Hide that. We can deal with that a little bit later. I don't think we're going to put anything up at the top anymore. I think it's going to be down at the bottom. So we can really utilize this space up here and fill in this space with these photos, kind of like this. Because before we were going to have text up there, but we're going to have text in this bottom right-hand corner because that's where it's most convenient. And then we can actually duplicate this little guy. And for fun, we can have his hand look like it's reaching over this, which is nice. A little bit of a problem area there, so we can fix that here. We can do that with, what is it called?
Gradient map.
There. That'll solve that real quick, because now it's black and white. What does this actually look like now? If I go like this, disable the layer mask and set this to normal at 100%. I don't hate this. I just think I prefer the black on it a little bit better. But I think I do want it to be a little bit more close to that. Okay, so we got this. We got some stuff to put down here now. We've got some more things we can do up here. I think the thing that works so well with this QWERTY graphic is they don't take as much, but you see a ton of the area, and he did some nice lighting on it, which we can probably add in. I kind of want to turn this ball and make this ball glowing, but I think it's really cheesy. What do you think? You think it'd be cheesy to make this ball glowing? I think it might be a little cheesy, but, you know. Did we wake up feeling cheesy is the question. So we're just going to add a nice little gradient map here. Like that. Go to adjustments, and then we're going to select this.
Curves.
And then make this nice little M. Make a nice little M. Like this. And if you make an M, where's the W? It's one or the other. You make an M or you make a W. And what it ends up doing is it makes it look like whatever you're holding is sort of chrome. Kind of like this. So then if I go like that, and go like this, we've got this sort of reversey, chromey looking football. Now this football is so grainy, it kind of doesn't matter. But it looks like that. So what we can do is just mask this out. Get rid of that. So this is its own thing. It's its own David S. Pumpkins. That way we can turn this into a smart object, and then we can make it glow. Filter, Gaussian blur. Let's make it like 15, kind of like that. So now we have this glowing ball down here, right? Put this behind it. Let's put this behind it. Yeah, kind of like that. Set the blur to like 5 or 2. Cool. Let's give this an inner glow. Yeah, set an inner glow, set to screen. Yes, this is what I want. I want it to come from the center though, and I only want it to be like 50. What does overlay look like? Overlay looks good. So now he has this glowing ball. Because why not? Probably have to make this ball glowing too now. Great. So I have to go down here. We're going to have to duplicate this guy. Delete this layer mask. Go in here, paste this, drop it down, flip it and reverse it. It's you frame for a different family. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to take this. We're going to mask this out. And we're going to paint this back in. So one thing that we've done with the last couple graphics that we've made is we've added in pixels. That's kind of what I want to do. I want to continue this sort of pixely little trend. So we're going to have to find somewhere to put pixels in this. Maybe we pixelate this ball instead of making it super chromy. We just pixelate it because we don't want this ball to exist. Is this a shadow? This is the issue with doing this. It's inverting it, but I don't know where it's a shadow, and I don't know where it's part of his glove. So I kind of put this in here. So this is part of his glove. Oops. Hitting X, by the way, to switch out my front colors because I'm just painting with black and white. Go like this. Go here, go here, go here. Blah, 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 blah. Distort, distort, distort. Okay, that ball looks pretty solid. Take this, duplicate it, duplicate it. Gaussian blur. Gaussian blur. Screen, screen. Now the ball's glowing. I don't think that looks too bad. I think that's kind of fine. What happens though if I go in here, I take this and I say filter, pixelate, mosaic, and I do that. What happens if I do that? I don't hate it. Let's do it here too, just because we can. There. Now the balls are pixelated and they're glowing. Cool. That allows us to do some lighting effects later if we want, depending on how long we want to be here for, which might be a while. We're not done until we're done. That's pretty much the only thing I know from these is we'll figure it out when we're done. So this whole graphic, what if I do this? It's gonna look really stupid, but I want to see what it does. So there's a color lookup on here called drop blues, which gets rid of all the blue. Yeah, it looks terrible. Cool, it did exactly what it says it's gonna do. It's gonna drop blue. Crisp winter. Crisp winter's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. So I'll add that there. Okay. So this is gonna celebrate his 4 touchdowns, I think. So let's do Gibbs 4 TDs. He's named Offensive Player of the Week. We could put that in. Ah. I gotta stop clicking on things. NFC Player of the Week for Week 18. Okay, maybe we can put that in here somewhere. I'm just gonna add that text in here just so we have it. And then we want to go Jamir. No, I just want Lions Vikings. I want the ESPN final score, box score. Oops. No, this is wrong. This is the wrong game. Because David Montgomery played and he was out for the end of the season. This is from October. Why do they have to make this so difficult? Like, they just gotta make it so hard for me to just highlight things. Okay. I haven't done a good little stat graphic in a while. Okay, so rushing, he had 23 carries for 139 yards, 6.0 average, and 3 touchdowns. For receiving, he had 5 receptions for 31 yards, 6.2, and 1 touchdown. Okay, so these were his stats. And we can play with these stats in well. We just need to make a little table. Yeah, Rafiq. I'm doing a collaboration with someone else right now. It's just really hard for me to figure out, like, with collaborations, like, who does what and when. Part of it, like, do I want to put my name on something if I think someone messed something up? Or, like, I know I did one before with someone, and I was like, what you sent me looks like a pretty solid graphic. I don't know if I can add to this, essentially. Like, you did everything. Let me add 2 things to this. Okay, NFC Player of the Week for this week. Great, we got the stats. So what we want, we've got the Sonic logo, which we can use maybe for the Player of the Week. Hide this, get rid of the stroke, give this a nice little color overlay of white. Actually, I kind of wanted this color. I could put this behind this. This looks too much like the Sonic logo, like too spot on. I gotta figure out where to put this. If I do something like this and have it as like a star or something, you know? We're gonna hide these. We're gonna figure that out. Okay. What do we got here? I wish you a good bet. ATS? Sure. Bet on them Buckeyes. So NFC Offensive Player of the Week should look like that. How do I want to do the grid? Based on our inspiration, how do we want to do this? How do we want to showcase this? So we can do that. That'd be nice. Let's do that. Can I do that with these shapes though? No, I can't. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna change this text to something else. We're gonna change this text to a text called pence. Is pence gonna look cool? Maybe. Oh god, I need to do this though, so we can actually see what the text is. No glyph, that's fun. It's sort of the same font he used here, but not really. There's a different version of this font though. Classic. Ugh. Oh, don't want that. Amador. Perfect. All right, we're going Gothic with it because we can. So I like these shapes down here. These nice, not the bento shapes. I want to use these circles. So let's grab a circle. Let's take a look at our grid here. Let's go like this. Make this take up this full grid. Greg, it was Cordy Visuals. You are not the first person to ask that because it's an amazing graphic. So you can just search Cordy, C-O-R-D-Y Visuals. You can find his Instagram. Do I have his Instagram still up? Just from... No, okay. I had his IG up like, I don't know, 20 minutes ago. It's a really good graphic. Ooh, don't want these to be... Give this a stroke. No, I want these to be this other color. This color. And we'll start with this. Whatever. Okay, so 23. Amador. Or not, you know. Just love how it just doesn't do what you want. Hey. Change the font. Stop being difficult. Oh, of course it's his pinned tweet. It should be his pinned tweet. So we go like this. Do we want it to be... Here's my thought. Do I want it to be inside? Do I want it to be encapsulated? Do I want it to be outside? How do we want this to be showcased? Do we want these letters to be, you know, this blue color to add a little bit of contrast? Like this? I think yes. Do we just want all of this to be blue? I think we do. I don't want it to show up. I don't want it to be like too apparent, too obvious what some of this stuff is. 139 fits. That's good. .0 fits. We'll play around with this text too. This is 3. Let's take all of this text and just tighten it up just a teeny bit more and make it a little bit smaller. Nice even 40. Okay, let's take all these real quick and go like that so they're all equal, and then we can adjust this. We'll optically align this. Optically align this. Optically align that. And put this here. Okay. So we can put this together. These are his Russian stats. So we can delete that. We don't really care if Russian stats is spelled correctly because this is a personal project. And we just change all of these to be the other numbers, which are gone because they're right here. These stats don't make any sense. Hold on. Lines by things. What did I mess up? Oh, he didn't have 53 receptions. Can you imagine? He had 53 catches in one game. That's outrageous. Okay, so we've got NFC Player of the Week. Let's make this regular. Well, let's just... You know what? I just like Gothic fonts. They're nice. Negative 35. I'll just put this up here. Okay, so we're going to take this. And what is this? This is going to be... Receptions, but it's... Oh, do we put it in front? Let's use Amador, make this a Rep TV. Read this. Can we read it if it's pence? Maybe we do make it Bank Gothic. And the reason we make it Bank Gothic is because we want it to be contrasting. Two really heavily contrasting fonts. This is also too big. It needs to be tiny. When I was in college, I remember we did like type classes and stuff. And I was like, it needs to be smaller. The text needs to be smaller. I need the text to be smaller. Ooh. Teeny tiny. I want you to be able to read it, but you really got to work for it. That's pretty much how I felt. Like we would do projects and like to print off, and it'd be like my font size would be like 7, like 7/9 or something like that. What is this? This is average, average, and this is TDs. Okay, let me just fix these so these are all same. And this is why I like making boxes. I could probably just line this up with this, with the square, with the circle. It's called a circle, Brad. We'll do this, but I just like making rectangles. Pull back. Got some cool stuff down here. Honestly, I think all this stuff's too big. What's this? This is why I capitalize everything. It's because I'll just spell it wrong. Not wrong, but I'll just have caps wrong and just be like, what is even the point? Okay, so receiving stats will stay the same. We'll just take these and we'll just put it below it. So there's a little bit of stuff with that. This would be... Carries. Carries, yards, average, touchdowns. Great. Okay, so we have his stats. We can put that into a big old stats. Grab that. We can take his stats. Yep, I just fixed it. It's 23 carries. Yards, average, touchdowns. I think it's all right now. If it's wrong, it's just the lines. It's fine. I'm a Bears fan anyway. If I accidentally disrespect, we accidentally disrespect. So we do Offensive Player of the Week. We put this in... We put this in this other font only so we can make it lowercase. I think we do. We just spell offensive right. And I wanted to put week 18 in the other font, but I don't know where I want to put that. Let's take this and let's go whoop. Rushing. And guess what? This is a... should line up perfectly because it's a circle. Rushing. This would be about the same. I'm just going to eyeball it. Receiving. I think I spelled receiving right. I before E, except after C. Okay. Could put totals, but probably not. We've got this here. We've got our stats. I kind of want to take the stats and line it up this way. That way when you're looking at it, it sort of solidifies it a little bit better. We can probably put the week 18 offensive player of the week, and that fits this nice little shape over here just nicely. Then we take his stats and we make his stats a little bit smaller, kind of like that, so everything all lines up. Is this using the grid at all? Nope, sure isn't. Does it matter? No, it doesn't. But I can adjust this a little bit so it's a little bit more aligned with this. Here's something we should do. Save. We haven't saved in the last 2 hours. Hour and a half. Yeah, hour and a half. Alright, so this is looking real good. We need something to solidify both of these together and some other stuff in here and some stuff up here. We just pull this over here. Verify some food. Okay, something is. Just want to make sure something. I don't have to do edits for something. Okay, I think we're good on that. Bunch of crap, don't care. Okay, cool. Okay, we have the NFC Player of the Week. You just put this into a box. It's text together. But we need to put his name on here. It says Jamir Gibbs in 0 places on this. Where are we going to put that? Where are we going to put that? Looking. Let's turn this back on. Let's put the Sonic logo behind these guys. But it's there. Duplicate it and just kind of twist it around. Sort of just abstract shapes, right? Okay. I mean, that's cool. Add something to this. Let's duplicate this again. Let's put this just above this layer and just sort of blow them up like that and set them to like what is this, 20%? Boost it up though. I don't want it to be on top of the logo. I don't want it to be on the stats, I mean. And I don't want it to be on his feet. Just click that. There. You got some random lines going around, but you and I know it's the Sonic logo. So that's nice. Okay, let's add... I kind of want to add random pixels to this. Okay, we're going to randomly add pixels to this wherever there's a Lions logo as a rebellion of being a Chicago Bears fan. So we're going to hop into this. We're going to combine this into a smart object just because this is the easiest way of doing this. Filter mosaic 15. Great. So we're going to go into this. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to do this. Oh, good. I'm using the polygonal lasso tool. That's going to be even better. So I'm using the polygonal lasso tool. It's fun to say polygonal instead of polygonal. That's why I say polygonal. Oops. Is that the logo or is that... No, that's part of his helmet. I can go like this, and then I can go down here and I can hit delete and then go like that. And then can I filter mosaic? Yes, I can mosaic this and make this a little bit bigger. I can also search for square brushes because we have square hard squares in Photoshop. Make it the same size And just paint in, oh God, I want to paint in here. I miss a spot. Or if it looks a little bit sketchy, just sort of fake it and go like this. Messed up that area, so we go like that. It's all squares too, so it doesn't really matter. Disrespecting the Lions brand. All right. Let's do it here too. Let's disrespect the Lions brand down here. I don't even know if you can see this part of it in the graphic, but we're going to do it because we can. All right. See, this just looks cool. It adds nothing to the... It just adds something to the graphic in a completely nonsensical way. Filter, mosaic. Invert. Whoa, God. What did I hit? I don't know what I hit there. Invert. Blue. Pixels. Okay, the mosaic needs to be a little bit smaller. 10's probably good. Mosaic, mosaic, mosaic. Blah, 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 blah. Lions. And then we'll hit this with the mosaic too. But I really want to get his helmet up here. I might have to change this again. Take this, filter mosaic. What does that look like? Oh God. Save it, quit. Yeah, cool. Do you guys like these pixels? I made a graphic a while ago with pixels on it, like 4 years ago, and people were like, I don't get the pixels. And I was just kind of like, fine. I don't care. I don't care if you get the pixels. I get the pixels. And I know why they're there. So we're going to use them. God gave us pixels for a reason. Detroit? Nope. Blurry. More like blur. Lions? Wrong. Blur. Cool. Supposed to get more snow, so I gotta make sure that I can get some food ordered by the time the snow comes. See, look, pixels for no reason. Great. We can take this back thing then. Aha. Filter, guess what? Mosaic. Cell size, 50. Great. It doesn't look like it's doing anything, which is nice, because I literally just want those pixels to be right here. It's the only spot I want them in. We're going to do the same thing to this. Except this is a puppet warp applied to it, so I have to do that. I have to do that. And then, ooh, God. And then we can just mask it out here. Because we just want it in that top spot. Pixels, cool. Let's grab one of these Sonic logos. This one? Yeah, let's take this one. And then we'll mosaic that one. It's going to be impossible to see. Set that to 15. Let's just do both. Let's just add some more pixels to this. Sweet. Okay, I think we need a little bit of contrast down here now. So we're going to tweak this a little bit because I wanted it originally to sort of blend in, which it does, but nothing pops over here. Nothing brings the eye over here. So I want to fix that. And is that going to work if I just change this to their gray color a little bit? I think we want to add a little bit of this in there too now. Okay, so we're going to go to the stats. Do we want the stats to be a different color? We might want the stats to be a different color. So I can grab all these, and I can grab all these. An easy way to change all the text is just click there and hit boom. I feel like these guys are missing out now. They're going to be sad pandas if I don't do this. Sad panda. And then maybe we change week 18 to this blue color because we don't care. Week 18. See, that's a little bit better. That's a little bit nicer. A little bit better. Maybe we make this white background. We change the color overlay to be that gray color. What does this look like? I don't know what is saving, or I'll just quit out of it. Okay, we're back here again. Good thing we hit save a whole bunch in that last 45 seconds. Just gonna give this a color overlay. Should be the right color, automatically save, quit. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. We need to add his name still. We still haven't added his name. Let's add a couple more color lookups just because we can, because I like color lookups. Put this up here so that all blends in together. Do you guys use color lookups at all? I feel like a lot of it comes down to like a crutch to use them. Like I rely on them too much. But they just glue everything together. They just look nice. Like, come on. Look at this here. Oh, did someone ring our doorbell? Yeah, my dog's hella mad. Just ran upstairs. Color lookups. I like using selective color too. So selective color, I can really boost these colors however I want. Make them really blue. Can add a lot of nice color to things. You make things darker, lighter. I go in here to the blacks. I can make the blacks really, oh god, wrong way. Really black. Which is kind of nice. So this is before. This is after. Dealer's choice on if you think you like it or not. I think I get rid of that one. What does it set to? 50? Let's set this to like 25. Before. After. Just colder. Just make it a really cold graphic. Okay, let's grab the Lions logo. It's up in the top hand corner. It's in the very top. I want it to be black and white. So we're gonna make a new smart object be a copy, just so we have a copy of it. So the way I would make this black and white. I don't know the way the Lions would do this. How I would do it is I would grab both of these colors and make them black and go like this. And then I can set this to screen, it gets rid of it, and then it's black and white because it's the outline. This is what their logo should look like, black and white. In my opinion. Now, I could be wrong. You know, Ashley could keep me honest, who works for the Lions. What if we put the Lions logo in this? Can we put the Lions logo in this? This just looks like the Miller High Life logo. I don't like how this looks up here. I'm going to put my logo up there instead because I can. New logo 2023. Hey, look at that. Click. There we go. All right, here's my logo. I don't want that logo though. Hold on. Logo intro. What is this? My desktop. You can read all that. Okay, cool. I have a ping file somewhere. Yeah, this right here. This is what I want. This is a ping file I generated from a 3D layer. And honestly, this is going to look way better up here in the corner than over here because it's going to blend in too much. We're going to put it over here. We're going to blow it up a little bit. And you know that Lions logo we got rid of? We're going to put it back. And we're going to make that a little bit bigger. Okay. I think this reads a little too right heavy with that. So I'm going to put this Lions logo over here next to my logo. We're going to make both of them 80% smaller. And go like this. Where do we stack them? This is where we start to make something on the left side here. And actually we do use this. I want them to be the same. This is a weird stroke on it though, doesn't it? What is going on here? Did anyone hit that? Whatever. Save. Save to my computer. This isn't doing what I want at all. Alright, let me hit some buttons. Just go back. Okay, we're chilling. Alright. So now I can just paste this as a smart object. And now it's my logo nice and small. And I can go like this. And put it up here. Make it real small. Theoretically, if this was for the Lions, they would want their Lions logo to be bigger than my logo. I'm going to try and abide by that. But what I'm really trying to do is I'm really trying to make sure that this maintains the same visual appeal. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw a nice little rectangle. Drop it down here like this. Give this a nice white color. You're going to drop it down here. And go like this. See what this looks like with no stroke applied to it. We're going to grab NFC Player of the Week, drop it over here. Jamir. Okay, Doc, doing some big stretches. Jamir Gibbs. This probably doesn't line up well left to right like that. It lines up kind of fine. We're gonna make it. Ooh. Make it real small. And just a little bit of breathing room like this. Obviously, we can see this way too much, right? So what if I set it to this color? Can still see it too much. What if I give it a pattern overlay and see what pattern overlays I have in here that I can put on here? Oh, let's do this. Oh yeah, let's introduce... Oh, we're gonna do this. Hold on. We're gonna duplicate this. Get rid of this mosaic. Delete the smart filters. We're gonna blow it up a little bit like this. We're gonna give this a pattern fill. Or pattern overlay. And the pattern overlay essentially is transparency. No, we're not. We're not gonna do that. We're just gonna take this rectangle instead. Make this blue. I made the stroke blue, didn't I? Yep, sure did. I need these to be the exact same color, please. They are. Good. I need Jahmyr Gibbs to be that same color, please. Okay, they are. Good. Alright, we'll do this instead. There's a better way of doing this. But we're going to grab a rectangle and just tilt it 45 degrees. Just going to make it... Actually, it does not matter what color we make it. And we're just going to do this. We're making some hazard lines like this. Which I would say you shouldn't do, because this is a very generic looking thing to do. But we're going to use the argument that it's the Detroit Lions and you should proceed with caution. So it's caution signs because of that. It also plays in with Detroit. You know, Detroit is very car dominated. Line's almost nothing now. I just don't like how this looks. I think I just want this to be... I think I just want this to be a single line, actually. But then it's just a dashed line. It looks stupid. So let me disable this. Jamir Gibbs, and we grab this, and we have this drop down here. We use this finally. We finally use this to its potential. Give it a fill of 100, opacity of 100. Set it to normal. Oh yes, we can do this. We don't want to give it a stroke. We want to give it a color overlay. And the color overlay we want to give it is this color here. So it says Jahmyr Gibbs inside this tiny little shape that we know to be the Sonic logo. And we can make Jamir Gibbs white. We can grab some of these. I'm gonna delete these layer masks. We don't need them anymore. We just want these. So I want that to hit there, and then I want this to hit here. Jamir Gibbs needs to be. What if we make it reverse? Is that stupid if we make it reverse? It might be. We're gonna leave it reverse for now because I want to move these lines. Just to go up all the way there. Grab these guys, just have them sort of. No, I want these to be directly on the line. And then just take this line instead. We'll just mask it out. It'll be fine. It'll be easier. We go like this. We just go yoink. Mask. Invert the mask. And just take it and just make it a little bit taller. Kind of like that. And then we bump the lines logo up like 5 pixels. And we drop mine down like a little bit too. What we should do is we should put them in circles. Should put them in these circles. We have these circles for a reason. Let's utilize them. Circle 1 on the line. Circle 2. Take the lines logo. Great. We take this rectangle. We go whoop. I think we have this barrier in here on purpose. We could put Jamir Gibbs in that barrier. But I can go color overlay with the logo and just put my logo in here like this and just make it a little bit smaller. God, it's 2%. It's so small. Same with the color overlay here, but if I do that, it breaks it. So I can just go in here, grab all of this. I don't know, just Shift M and just remove. Shoot. Objects, expand, effects, window, pathfinder, merge together, black, delete, save, and boom. Now this can be set to whatever I want and it'll be fine. Logos are way too big. Yeah, teeny tiny. Can't even see the Lions logo anymore. Should probably just make the Lions logo the regular Lions logo. I do have one of those. It's right here. Is that gonna ruin everything though if I have a regular Lions logo over here? Well, I guess I could just do this and bake. Just do this. I like kinda ghost it, but just like kind of fake ghost it. Or I ghost it on purpose because it's the lines and I don't care. That's also an option. It's always a fun option. Negligence due to fandom. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, we'll take Jamir Gibbs back. We'll flip this back around so we can actually read what it says. Negative 100. It's gone forever. Okay. let's just go like this. No, let's just put like... You're not gonna let me do that? Okay, that's what I thought. Jahmyr. Just a little bit like that. All right. This looks a little bit off balance. Don't you agree? I think this Sonic logo is too thick over here because it doesn't match. But I can easily just go in here and just change that with this because it's a stroke. Do. That's better. Then I can make it smaller. And we can fix these lines. No, I can't fix though. I have to just manipulate like that. I just have to manipulate like that. Jamir Gibbs text here is pretty solid. I don't like how this is the point. This is all working. I'm cruising with everything except for his name down here. It's pretty much where you're at. And I think it has to do with the Sonic logo. I think this just needs to say Jamir Gibbs. Sad to say. It's just what looks best. And this lines up perfectly here. And we make it blue. Is that how you make it blue? How do I do that? I need to select it, then I'll make it blue. Spread it up a little bit more. Make it like a little bit larger. Yep. Oh, hold on. 12. That's probably better. This other line, just drop it down a little bit. Maybe we make this, just break it just a teeny bit. Kind of like that. All right, what do we feel? What are we feeling about this? What if we invert this? Because if we invert this, if we just delete the layer mask and make it a little bit glossy like that. No, invert's fine. If we do this, we can actually give him some shadows. Shadow. Make a little foot shadow. Dean Davies made. Go check out Dean. He probably has this as his pin tweet as well. Just give him a little shadow right there. Set that to multiply. Set this. It's probably just a glitch. And then I'll just flip that and reverse it. That's usually what I do. It's pretty solid most of the time. Why does it look so messed up? Just change these to be like... There. What are we feeling? How are we feeling this? Feeling this? I think we're at a pretty solid spot with this. I think I might want to make just some of this stuff a little bit more of this color though. I don't want to do that. It's in the background. Probably had some cooler stuff going on up here, but I think we're at a pretty good spot considering it's been 3.5 hours total on this stream. Oh, thanks, Jesse. I think we're done. I think I just want to maybe mess around with a couple things. So I have these brushes that I haven't used in a while. The brushes Ethan J Design came out with like 7 years ago. There's these guys. Little light faded lines. So I can go in here and sort of... Where's my brushes? What if I put like a Sonic speed trail on that one in the top right? Here? Him yelling, do something Sonic related? Is that what we're talking about? Brush settings. I don't want this to scatter as much, I think. Let me grab this light beam. Let me see what you're talking about. Sonic Speed Trail. Image. We'll do... yeah, we'll figure out a good alternative to that. Because what we're going to do is we're going to group these guys together. And what we're going to do that is we're going to break everything. Kind of. But I can go in and reverse a lot of this. Like this. Just add a little bit of lighting effect to some of this. We'll do some of this straight up and down. Let's do 5 and 2. Just do the same thing here. So for this, what I think I can do is I can sort of grab, shoot. Grab this again. And go like this and just go whoop. It's just so too much. What is this? Shape dynamics? Size jitter? Like nothing. So I go down here and it just does that. And add it sort of the same thing. And go back here. Maybe kind of like this. Sort of does that. To an effect. I think this adds more to it, which is cool. Let me just grab some flares to throw in the back and we'll call it quits. Humorously, I use a lot of Ethan J. Design's stuff that he made like 7 years ago. It's just good things. It's got this light effect pack. And I like to use these lens objects a lot in flares. I don't want this though. Lens flares. Flares. Let's take a look at list view. Not list view. Icon. Yeah. Which one of these can I use? Let's throw this on here somewhere. I'm not hitting any buttons that do anything at all. Hold on. There we go. Alright, toss this here. Just kind of go like this. Just drop a little, drop a little flare on there. That's what this is missing. Just a little flare. This looks bad though because I need to have this be in its own group and have this applied to that so it blends in the same, but it doesn't. I need to put this in a group and I need to apply this so it blends in the same, and it does, and I should just remove that and hide it. That's fine. Take this, we'll add this another flare down here. It's the same flare, fine, who cares? I don't care. We mosaic the flare? Yeah, we can. Can we mosaic both flares? Yeah, we can. Cool. Okay, what else do we have here? I think this would look nice behind the players. So if I put this here, set this to screen. Oh, see how blue it is already? Just because of these light leaks. These sort of some of these effects. That looks kind of cool. Drop this one below here, and then we'll twist it up just so it's right here and kind of like that. curious if I want to add a levels adjustment to this just to pull it in a little bit, because I think it's doing something weird. What is that? Ah, it's this. Okay. Just want his arm back. Okay, that looks better. Oh, you know what I can do with these two? Where's this dog at? What do you want? I'm not gonna play with you right now. Okay. What I can do with these is I can mosaic these, I think. Oh yeah, it's totally working. This is definitely what I want. Filter, mosaic. Filter, mosaic. It's just kind of working and kind of doing. Okay. I want to edit just one thing real quick. I think it's this one here. Yeah, let's just tilt this back. I just want to do this just a little bit less. Honestly, here's one of my final thoughts on this is I want to make almost everything smaller. Is this him? Okay. I want to make all of this and the flares. I want this all to be like 90. Oh, shoot. Shoot. Let me grab his shadows too. Make it 5% smaller. It kind of messes up some stuff, but we can fix it real quick. Let's put these back up here so they're actually on him. It's gonna mess up some of these. I think I meant to go in here and adjust these. Like, I think I'm meant to paint up here. The general brush and do that. I don't want this to break this though, because it might shift everything over. It didn't. Okay, good. This I can just go like this. It's kind of weird down here though. It's because of the puppet warp. What if I just get rid of this? I think this looks better anyway. So good. This is going to be broken. So I need to do this. And then do that. Okay. Then I need to take all of these guys, including this and this and this and this, and just sort of bump it up a little bit. This guy doesn't exist anymore. I don't need this anymore. Take this guy and just sort of... Oh, shoot. I need to match up the ball. What I should do is link these all together. Just link these layers together so I can move them around wherever I want. I think this reads a little bit better. Just a little bit of critiquing. A little bit of fine-tuning. Now what I actually want to do though, again, even though we just did this, let's take this and just drop it down even more. So this lines up at the bottom. Okay, I didn't take these and move them, so that's fine. Move this one here, and then this one's going to be in the wrong spot. Click that. What is this? Okay, so I want Big guy, big guy. Up, 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 up. And this guy with this. Up, up.
I don't know who Jay Cutler is.
Kind of like that. Shano, thank you for subscribing. I love when that procs. It doesn't proc often, but when it does, it's always fun. Okay. What is happening? Let's go like this. Okay. I think we're done. I think this is good. I think this is a good stopping point. Mainly because I have to order some food soon. What do you guys think? Kind of want to make these silver. Let's do that. What if we make these the silver color? It's not. Is that not how you do that? Oh, it's a stroke. That's right, because it's a. Okay, it's down at the bottom. Okay. Let's do a stroke. Stroke. Grab these guys. Just gonna put this into a group. Just give it color overlay because it's gonna do the exact same thing. Doink. I hit cancel. Hopefully that color saved. It did not. Because that's how things work. Yeah, that looks better. What do you think? This? Or this? This? Or this? I think this works. The dog again. Oh, she just wants to hang out on stream. That's fine. You like the blue? I think this might work though. I think if I do blue, if I make the lines blue, and then do this, I think this might work. A little in between. Still get a little bit of this blue over here. Make these a little bit smaller so you can see them a little bit better. Yeah, I think that's good. A little Hannah Montana situation, best of both worlds. Okay, cool. So I think we're done. So let me just pop a couple edits on this. Yeah. Let's go to camera raw. Let's do some camera raw edits to this. Some final tweaks to this. Usually what I would do is be like this. No, 5, -5. Oh, sorry, -5, 5, -5. Color, let's just add a little bit of vibrance for no reason. Effects, we're gonna add grain for no reason. Let's just bump up the texture and clarity a little bit. The color grading is where we can do a lot of cool stuff. So the midtones we can make super freaking blue. Shadows, what do the shadows look like? Look at that, the shadows down at the bottom. Make those really freaking blue, just a little bit. Pull this in. Highlights, I don't know what highlights are on here. Just making this really blue graphic. It's really just what we're doing. So it's like this before and this is after. It's just bam, in your face, which is fun. And then we can calibrate that blue here. So we can make it this lighter blue or this deeper blue. I think we're gonna make it this deeper blue. I'm gonna hit OK. So it looks like that. So is this, that, this, that. I'm also going to go up here. I'm going to go to filter. I'm going to go to pixelate because someone was talking about this the other day. I had a color halftone to this, but I'm going to set the color halftone to luminosity and set it to like 25%, like 33. What that's going to do is just going to add this subtle texture to it. Like that. But here's the thing. I don't like how that always looks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this, make this a smart object. I'm going to go to the image size of this and make it twice as big. Because you can't go lower than 4 pixels. But if I do this, I can make this 50% the size. Shoot. Oh no, I did that wrong. Hold on. I go in here. Hold on, let me turn this into a smart object. Go here. Go here. Make this twice as big. Filter. Halftone 4. Adds the halftones. Save. Go back, and then I set this to 50%. And then it looks like this. But then we set this to like 50%. Or no, then we set this to luminosity at like 50%, which is what we want. But we lost that camera filter, kind of. So we're going to paste that here. So it looked like this, then we did that. And if we go in here, we add this little halftone texture to it. It sort of glues everything together. But one last thing I want to do is I want to go to the selective color. I want to go to the neutral colors. And I do kind of want to get rid of some of the white. Or some of the cyan. Or make it a little bit lighter. I don't know, just this NFC offensive player of the week thing's kind of bugging me. But I think we'll leave it how it is. So this is what we got. Done. We got this Jamir Gibbs graphic. Just to make sure everything is spelled correctly. That way when I post this, I don't get flamed. I think we're good. Alright. Sweet. So with that, thank you guys for joining me again this week. This was a lovely little design that we came up with. Nice inspiration for it. Something came out pretty solid. I'm going to be back again next week. 1 to 2 times next week. I do not know when. But I will let you guys know. If you guys have any suggestions for what you want me to show you, like we did to start off, we talked a little bit about tutorials, a little bit about sports cards. But if you have any ideas about what you want to see me design live, hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on Twitter, let me know. As always, make sure you guys like and subscribe if you guys like this material so more people can come join us live and chit chat. And with that being said, I will see you guys next week. Have a great rest of the day.